Hey guys, we are live. This is Drake with the RPG Construct, and we are doing another game in this improv series that I'm calling "So You Think You Can Roleplay." It was a very clever name title thought up by Scott Eustace. Anytime I want to name something, I name him. So Scott, thank you very much for that. So if you guys have watched the the first game, basically what we're going to be doing is randomly coming up with a story. I have no idea what we're going to do. Where we're going to go, what the story is going to be. I'm going to depend heavily on asking these four amazing players what things are. So it's pure improv. We had a lot of fun last time. The one bit of feedback I got from the first game was that my players wanted more than 15 minutes to do their characters. So I gave these guys, I told them yesterday, three of them, and Chelsea got hers this morning. So if we'll just kind of introduce everybody, they'll tell you who they are and what they're going to be playing. So let's start, because we have to, with Marquise.
What's up, everybody? My name is Marquise Hardis. I'm 1/3 of Point of Inspiration. You can check us out on facebook.com/Point of Inspiration, where we release RPG modules and cool stuff like that. We have a really big PDF playtest coming up Monday for Al-Qadim. So if you like Arabian Night style adventures, Sinbad, Aladdin, all that stuff, go check that out on Monday. As for my character, I am playing Vakar Mong. Vakar Mong is a dwarven war mage. It is a title passed down from hermit to hermit. Basically what happens is the Karmong is a pivotal figure in the dwarven slave wars. When they get too old or too crippled to fight any longer, they go and they find their successor. They beat them in the head till they're unconscious. They drag them into the middle of the mountainous woods, and then they train them in their ways from there. And thus the line of Karmongs continues.
Awesome. Let's go to Philip.
Hello, everyone. My name is Philip, and I'm going to be playing a half-orc cleric of life domain called Jaka. Jaka is a criminal, and basically he started off posing as clergy for his god, and then eventually he kept pretending enough that the god imbued him with his own powers so that he could convince other people to actually join him. And he's kind of a coward and definitely only out for his own gain.
A half-orc cleric of the life domain is quite the combo. And by the way, guys, all of these guys rolled these randomly. I have some character die, and we rolled them randomly. I sent them all videos, so they played whatever they landed on. And next we'll go to Chelsea.
Hi, my name is Chelsea, and I'm another 1/3 of A Point of Inspiration. I do the graphics, a little bit of writing, but I try to leave that stuff to Marquise and Chris. I'm playing Morn, the Crow of the Sea, and she kind of got this name being such an outsider in her element. She's a pretty well-known criminal. She kind of flaunts it like a flag. And I'm kind of really excited to play her because I've actually never A, played a sorcerer because I thought I hated them, and B, I've actually never played an orc character before, surprisingly enough. So this is going to be fun.
Thank you. And finally, at 2 o'clock in the morning, Baptiste.
And I'm Baptiste. I have no channel to plug in. I'm a resident a little bit of the AppTap group. And tonight I'm going to play Vicar, Black Dragonborn Warlock, Pact of the Archfey. So what I was thinking is he was molded by the caustic fluid in the Wild Fey by his patron and got sent to the Common Realm. And he was pretty confused when he came in and killed a tyrant without knowing it, freeing a village, making him some kind of folk hero. And then it just moved on, but the story still holds of a dragonborn freeing a village.
And a black dragonborn to boot. Very interesting. So we have a very tough, kind of hardy cast of casters here. Half-orcs and dragonborns and dwarves. I tell you, I'd be pretty worried about you guys. So I guess where we should begin is kind of the where. So why don't we start with Baptiste? where are you guys? What's the I don't know, the setting?
Let's say we are in the city of Anaan, A and to A in one end, and it's actually a city that is between cliffs, like pretty much in like a huge foray in the earth, and there's lots of bridge going atop one another, going all the way down the crack. And it's pretty much a mining town. So they foray into the side of a crack, mining gold, metals, and then bringing back up and just selling it. So it's trading town and mining town.
So this sounds like a pretty well-off town with these precious metals. Would this be? Tell me this, Marquise. Would this be a city or town that would be run by some type of like a prince or a king, or would this be more of like a what do they call them, mercantile style?
It's actually underneath the barony of one of the dwarven slave barons who kind of rule over these mountainous region. They control most of the mining and the trading and everything. We're currently just maybe a couple years after the last slave war, so things have been pretty peaceful. Things have been on the up and up lately. There hasn't been much of a need for any like direct military power over anything, so it's been pretty loose lately in terms of government.
And what's this baron's name? This dwarven slave baron?
We're going to call him. We're going to call him Brickarm.
Brickarm. Okay.
Brickarm.
Brickarm. And Philip, how do you know what brings you to this place as this half-orc cleric of life? What brought you to this? This basically this city just where precious metals are mined between these two cliffs that is basically run with the iron fist of this dwarven guy named Brickarm.
So I basically was run out of the last town I was in, serving in the last church, because they found out I was stealing from the donations to the church. So basically, I am on the run, and this very rich mining town, and I'm thinking if I can weasel my way into serving in the church here, maybe I can also come away with quite a bit of money.
And Chelsea, you had said that Morn was very well known in this city. What is she known for?
I have an important question for Marquise first. During the slave wars, was it to keep slavery or to disband it?
It was neither, actually. What happens is that the Jords call themselves slaves to the gods. So they fight. They have these big, massive conflicts in order to basically prove who's the better slave to the gods. These things are almost completely pointless. They're like crusades, but without reclaiming a holy land.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Drake. What exactly did you want me to answer? That threw my entire idea.
No problem at all. This is what it's about. Basically, in the beginning, when you introduced Morn, you said that she was very well known. Mm-hmm. So, what in this city here? What is she well known for?
All right, Morn is well known as a fine gems dealer, with a little bit of enjoyable substance relief on the side. She kind of masks that business with her sales from the fine gems.
Okay. And let's go with Baptiste. You find yourself now. Well, actually, let's go right back to Chelsea for 1 second. Would you have your own store? Would you just have a tent? Would you have like a little, cart? How would you be doing your business?
This is actually located quite close to a river, large enough to bring barges down. Okay. And she does the vast majority of her work on the docks to travelers.
Okay. Baptiste, you have made your way down to these docks where so much of these goods and trade happens, and you see this half-orc woman. You see her. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, continue.
No, you see her trading. You see her trading gems. But something inside you tells you that there's something more going on. As you walk up to her, what would you ask? What would you say to this woman? And have you seen a half-orc woman before?
I don't think Vicar has seen an half-orc woman before, but since his eyes are ever shifting colors, since he got the eyes of detect magic and the eyes of seeing in the dark, it's really weird because every time he sees something magical or someone with power, like his eyes shifts color, and he just sees this woman selling goods, but she's powerful in the magic. So he's actually not looking for the goods, he's like more interested in her, actually. And he's gonna approach her like, "Greetings, old woman." Or, I don't know ages very well. What are you?
She pauses for a moment, her eyes glance downward, and then back to a ship's captain in front of her. She finishes her dealings, ending with a hearty laugh and a pat on his back as she slips gingerly a hand into one of his coat pockets. She turns her full attention back, and she says, "Curious little creature you are. Well, if you don't know what I am, it tells me plenty. I'm a half-orc."
Curious. The other two legs I saw were not as green and as ugly, but is there overall your kind around here?
Who are you calling ugly?
And Philip, you were just dealing with Morn. You were actually the customer she was dealing with. That this rude dragonborn came in and just started talking, obviously unfamiliar with the customs and etiquette of this area. Would you say anything, or would you do anything?
If he's insulting half-orcs, then of course I will say, at least we don't have scales and a forked tongue. You're little more than a reptile.
I'm no reptile. I'm made from the real stuff. The caustic fluids of the real plane, not this fakery. And who are you? And he's gonna look you like up and down. You look kinda like her.
Baptiste, are you going to finish? You said you look kind of like and then you stopped.
Like her.
Oh, like her. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because they're both like half-orc, and it's like figuring out like, so this is like a race. It's not like a mutation from other humans.
So obviously this is, I would imagine that both Philip, you and Chelsea kind of take a step closer to each other as you are both, as you're both of the same race. This guy's coming in kind of insulting you, not being familiar with anything. Would you do anything, or would you just give him a stern look? I know you're not the most reputable man either.
Well, you must not know the etiquette of these lands, and I think perhaps it's time you learned. So please apologize to the lady, and we can all be on our way.
And apologize for what? Wait. Then he's gonna scratch like his like scaly chin and go, "I see something else in you. It's different." And you see like his right eye is looking at you is turning golden for the domain of life, and it's purple on the other eye. It's really unsettling. You're both gifted with power.
You see why I said, "Who you calling ugly?" Look at this creeper right here.
And as you guys kind of do your little dance, as far as verbally there, your little verbal judo, Marquise, You are sent to fetch Morn. You were sent by this Baron Brickarm, whom you are indentured to, as his, I guess you would call it a vassal. Why would you be indebted to him or kind of indentured to serve this slave master?
So the Karamongs, when they allow themselves to be enslaved by another force in the slave wars, they do so because of the dreams that they have. So weeks ago, maybe months or even years ago, the Karamong is sleeping and the camera focuses in on the Lakered Mask. There's nothing but a black backdrop behind it. And then you start seeing raindrops fall on it, and the raindrops form a river that goes out before the Kongmar's mask. And in this dream, he dreams of the goddess of mountain rivers, one of the many dwarven gods, speaking to him, and it tells him to go find a woman who can speak to waves. And then when the Karmong awakes, he does what all Karmongs do, and he finds the nearest baron and gives himself his servitude, his power. Yeah, waves.
Okay. She can speak to waves. Chelsea, enlighten me.
They don't call her the Crow of the Sea for anything. She has shown feats of magic over the waterways. In fact, some believe it's her doing that ships can even pass up this far into the river.
Now, does she only have powers just for the ocean, or is it any body of water?
It would be salt, brackish sea, ocean.
Gotcha. So, Marquise, the Karmong walks kind of at the end of the docks. Now, these docks, like I said, it's a shipping heavy area. It smells heavily of fish and tar. There's several barges coming and going, bustling, several dozen people unloading and loading, large wooden cranes with ropes moving things, people yelling. But definitely that salty smell and kind of old fish is really what kind of assaults your senses as you come down. You know that you have been sent to fetch Morn. You know that the Baron has need of her skills. And you're probably 20 feet away as you hear them bickering with Philip, these two half-orcs bickering with this odd black dragonborn. This is something that you haven't seen in ages. This is not a common sight around here. Let alone a black dragonborn, but a dragonborn in general is rare, but a black dragonborn is never seen. What would you say?
I'd imagine the Karmong as a hermit has actually, every sight that he sees in a city is a sight that he's not used to seeing, right? Everything he sees is unusual. And especially being this close to a river that's coming from the sea, the dwarves believe that crossing the sea or touching seawater is bad. It goes against their many superstitions, which is why they do so much work and they end up enslaving so many people who, are like naval peoples and everything. So as he approaches, the Karmong walks like most dwarves do. He walks like a gorilla, right on his knuckles towards us. You can hear the clanking of the steel on his gauntlets as he approaches. He sees these people arguing. And the moment he sees Morn, he knows her for what she is. Because, again, he's being guided by the god of mountainous rivers straight to her. So he gets closer, and they're going to hear the clanking of his knuckles. The Karmong says nothing. It's important to note that Dwarven language, the reason they clank so much is that they speak primarily through the clanking on stone and through on steel, right? So speaking verbally, they have very thick accents, and it's very hard for them to do a lot of the time. So as the Karmong approaches, he just stands there silently. You see his mask, just black holes in the front of it. You can barely see his eyes, if at all. And he's staring directly at you, Morn.
Now, Morn, would you have ever met the Karmong before? Would you know even who he is?
Absolutely. In fact, he's probably a critical role in my success. And the reason I have any sort of relationship with him at all is because I've been blackmailing him for years. So as I turn, she has a set of white dreads going up the center of her skull, shaved on the side, and they're tied together with this headpiece that is 2 crow's feathers ripped off the body. And those crow feathers silhouette against the Carmong's mask. And she looks down and sees just for a moment the glimmer of his eyes, and she recognizes him as the indentured, and stands there silently waiting.
And Philip and Baptiste, you see this too. Marquise, give me an intimidation roll, please.
Not a problem. It's going to be a 15 on the die, so it's 15 minus 1, so that's a 14.
Okay. Both Philip and Baptiste, both of you guys, Jaka and Vicar, you guys have never seen this guy before, but he just has this presence, this large mask, and him just standing there motionless, staring at this woman. You're definitely intimidated. You're not scared per se, but you kind of mentally prepare like something could go down. This would be something where you would just have a bit of concern should this guy come any closer. And Morn, what would you say anything to the Carmong as it came down? Obviously, looking at him and I would assume acknowledging where he is.
Chelsea?
I'm sorry, I thought he was asking Baptiste.
No.
You
basically, I was just saying, he's locked eyes with you. You've locked eyes with him. The other two kind of realize what's going on. What would you do from there?
So she kind of goes into this squatting position. It's not a, insult to him bent over. It's simply so she can better position herself as she takes 2 kind of calloused knuckles and knocks them against the ground. And it's up to Marquise how he interprets that.
So it's not a greeting. Well, it is a greeting, but in dwarven language, how many raps you do and how hard you do is how polite you are. So imagine you do 2 short, fast ones.
I'm going to say 2 sharp, fast, but very hard.
Okay, so very hard is good. It means you respect, but very fast means that there's a lot of social distance between us. So he repeats it to you, and then he does like that, which basically means to you that he needs you for something and that you're required by someone else.
She turns her head, the feathers kind of bending at the force of her head turning, and she looks up to the Dragonborn and the other half-orc, specifically to the half-orc, and she says, "If you're not busy, it sounds like I might need some help."
And Vicar's eyes are actually turning deep red as he sees the Carmong. And he'll take a step back a little bit. And, well, this is surprising. This land is full of magicka. It's interesting.
Although I am not incredibly foreign to these lands, I am with you in not fully understanding what's going on here.
You already know you owe me. And you called me ugly, so you owe me too.
And he shrugs. Fair enough.
Now, Marquise, you know that you haven't been called to summon anybody but Morn. But you know that it was with haste that you were told to bring her to the what is known as the Bronze Citadel that sits atop one of these cliffs, and it's almost like where this, so he can survey, so this Baron can survey the city below. It's a rather tedious trek, but it's made that way so that no one can really get to him easily. But you know that, well, the only thing that you really know is that you have been given this order and that you must carry it out.
So the Carmong doesn't understand social etiquettes. He doesn't understand what it means to read the nuance, to read between the lines, right? So when he heard come get Morn and be fast, he wasn't told keep Morn by herself or don't bring anybody else or even be particularly secretive. He's simply doing what he has to do because the dreams told him to do this. And the fact that they're taking him back to this woman, the only woman who knows his secret, is important. So he reaches down with his giant hands and he pulls off a piece of bronze from his hip, and he takes it and he scratches it in a circle on the ground, which is the actual dwarven name for the bronze citadel. It's a very unique sound when he makes it. And then he puts it back and he looks back to you, Morn.
I'm going to imagine that she's not entirely well versed with your sounds and language. She kind of knows just enough to greet you. So a puzzled kind of look goes across her face, but she wipes it away as quickly as it comes and raises to her full height, and she says, "Well, if you lead the way, I'll follow. And you, Dragonborn, learn something along the way."
And Marquise, would you lead?
Most certainly.
Okay.
So when the Karmon leads them, right, he's not doing it in the manner as like a leader of a party or even like a leader, like a guide through the mountains and everything. He's just showing them the direction they need to go because it's the direction they need to go. So you might not always be in front. And if they ever did kind of like start swaying or straying in different areas and everything, would just bring them back.
And you kind of meander through this city of Anaan. You pass your typical marketplaces where all of this stuff that has been, trade stuff from the barges are getting taken to this marketplace. You smell cooked meats. You see just bustling people everywhere. You hear the clinging and clanging of blacksmiths hitting their anvils. You smell that smoke from not only from the forges, but from cooked meats and food as well. You go up through into more of what you would consider like the guild areas. Each guild in this place, each artisan guild has their own lodge, kind of this long rectangular, 100-foot long house that is their place of meeting. You go up even further, up kind of the bottom of this steep cliff, and you get into more of the residential areas. The areas, it kind of looks like a slum. It the roads are not as well kept. The stones that have been used for these houses some are cracking, some are broken. Some, a lot of these places don't have windows; they're just open. Scantily clad women doing the world's oldest profession, as well as some children just kind of wandering around, all very dirty. None of this is new to any of you, probably, except for Vicar. And you get to where these houses stop. And what is before you is the longest staircase that you have ever seen. It goes up almost like to a point. It's so far up there. It is carved into the mountain. Above it, you see a large structure whose roof shines in this kind of yellow, this kind of yellow reflection from the sun. The roof, it's called the Bronze Citadel due to the roof being made of bronze. It is at just the right angle to reflect the sun down onto this city. And the Karmon leads you up further and further. And then further. You come upon a large set of, imagine like it's the equivalent of like big castle doors, but two of them that kind of swing open. I imagine the Karmon gets up there, does his little, tap, and the doors open, showing an enormously huge, lack of a better phrase, throne room. There are columns going down probably every 20 feet. There's 6 or 7 columns. There's a beautiful red carpet in the center that's kind of leads you out. There are statues. There's dwarves. There's elves. They're pristine. The walls are carved meticulously. This is obviously of dwarven make. And sitting probably about 100 feet away on a throne made of gold, you see Morn, who you know is Baron Brickarm. And as you walk in, the doors close behind you. All you really hear is kind of the popping and crackling of a few of the fires that are on along the walls. Marquise, where would you bring them?
Very quickly, very curtly, and it's like a straight arrow just down the throne room, straight to where the actual throne is, where Baron Brickarm is sitting. And when he approaches, every single clink of his knuckles is another form of formal greeting that's been trained into the Karmong and is trained to become the Karmong. So when dwarves greet dwarves of a higher station, the very act of them walking towards that dwarf is just basically praise the entire way from the sounds they're making.
Okay. And Baptiste, seeing this carved stone, basically throne room, what would be going through your head?
And he looks at the stone room. It didn't see like such craftsmanship, but then his eyes almost instinctively fall to Baron Brickarm, and not on his face, on his arm. It's made of something magical, and it's like interesting, and he's probably like right behind the Karmong, like stepping in his footsteps.
What about you, Philip?
Jaka is panting from the exhausting trek up the staircase, and definitely his eyes are searching around, looking at all of this extravagant carving, extreme craftsmanship, and trying to compose himself because he knows, oh shoot, we're about to meet someone important, and this is going to be my chance to try to get some money. All right.
And as you all kind of walk closer to the Baron, probably stopping about 15 feet away as there's few steps leading up to his throne, he just glares at you, Morn. And when you get about 15 feet away, he extends an arm, and you see two guards kind of put their hands on their swords. He says, and you were supposed to return here long ago. You are lucky that I am just now sending for you. What has kept you?
Careful now, Brickarm, as she says as she takes steps, two at a time, going almost halfway up. She ignores the guards at either side. A bright smile as her little canines kind of poke out from her lips. She's wearing this kind of black tattered robe, but you can tell that at one point it was an expensive robe. Perhaps it was passed down to her. And when she gets a little closer and the swords start to draw out of sheath, she stares down at him and says, "Don't forget who made you what you are."
The guards take a few steps closer and actually pull their swords out, and the Baron looks up. Wait, let her be. This time. And he stands up, and he takes 2 steps towards you. And he's a rather short dwarf, and 2 or 3 steps above, he probably sees you eye to eye. And he says, yes, in the past, you may have had something to do with it. But we're not talking about the past. We're talking about the future.
Stop making idle threats and tell me what you want.
I asked you to get information. I asked you to, what do you call it, speak with the waves? I need to know where she is. I need to know where my daughter went. What did you find out? I've been waiting.
Fine. If you really want a doomed fate, I'll give it to you. An isle, lost in time, where only the siren can reach. That's where you'll find her, if you can even find the isle.
Oh, my dear, I don't have to find anything. I believe, yes, I believe you'll be finding it. And I see you brought some company. Are these friends of yours?
I wouldn't call them friends. One of them called me ugly.
Well, you are quite ugly.
She kind of blinks with this like unamused look on her face. And she crosses her arms over her chest, and they kind of bulge slightly, too muscular for what you would consider, a petite woman or a classically feminine woman. And she cocks her head to the side and says, "Better strong than pretty." But again, we talk in circles every time. What do you mean you want me to do it?
You've proven better strong than pretty multiple times. I believe you've outstayed your welcome here in my city. I was planning on removing you and taking your inventory. But I believe, should you be able to find this place, and of course, my daughter alive, perhaps we could get you off the docks and into a proper shop. Then I think my debt to you would be paid.
Her smile returns, and she says, "You think the blackmailer? Curious.
I've learned from the best, my dear.
It seems you've paid a little too much attention."
He has this kind of shit-eaten grin on his face, and he just nods. And he looks over. I'm sorry, go ahead.
If your plan's so genius, then how exactly did you think to remove me from the city?
Well, the Karmong says that you are much more powerful than I give you credit for. But I think I'll send him with you to make sure that you stay on task. But I'm not so sure about these other two. Perhaps a demonstration as to what they can do.
She seems to incline her head, and she turns on her heel and plops down with crossed legs, arms bent backwards as she kind of lounges against the stairs and claps her hands. Good idea.
And he motions for Baptiste and Philip. He motions you back. And kind of that same clap that she did when she sat down, you just hear him, and then he clangs a little bit on the floor and on the golden throne. And you see a elderly dwarven wizard, beard almost down to the floor, clad in just this like resplendent robes, very colorful, puts his hands together and just begins muttering, just. And behind you, Philip, one of the statues begins to move. You look, it's the statue of a minotaur carved in stone. And as it moves, you can hear the cracking and just see the dust falling from this thing. And this stone minotaur actually jumps down, kind of moves the axe around, almost flexes. And you just hear, roll for initiative, you two.
That's not so good. I think that's a 3. That's a 3.
That's a 3? Okay.
Yep.
Philip. All right, Philip, well, guess what? I rolled a 2. So Philip, you go first. What would you like to do?
Okay, so basically I kind of saw this coming. You never can trust these dwarves, especially rich dwarves, and I didn't even have a chance to grovel to him. So I'm going to say, please, Lord Baron, I do not think this is necessary, but I'm going to go ahead and get out my mace and shield and take a defensive position.
Okay.
And I want to cast Spiritual Weapon as a bonus action also.
Okay.
And so,
Baptiste. Oh, sorry. Good.
nope, that's it. I'll get to attack with that next turn.
Okay, Baptiste.
Okay, so as he sees like the Minotaur move, Vicar grab a little tighter on the staff and go, magic again. Very well. And as he grip his staff, extending from his hand, vines start to grow, and spikes forms on the quarterstaff to cast Shillegal, or Shillelag, or I don't know how you pronounce that thing.
It's pronounced shillelagh.
Oh,
I know,
shiggy-figgy.
It's a weird one.
Yep.
It's a weird one.
So yeah, there's spike going out of his staff, and he go, well, let's start with a little kiss, shall we? And he's gonna just breathe out, and he's gonna cast acid breath.
Okay,
Well, use his acid breath, I will say.
what's the DC on it?
So I never played Dragonborn, so I have no idea how it works. It's con mod plus proficiency, so that's 1 plus proficiency. DC 12.
Okay. He failed it. What does this look like? Where does it hit, and what effect does it have on him?
So it's 2d6 acid, and we'll see. So is breathing like this jet of acid from his mouth, and it's going to his like bit like lower, like higher on the left leg, and it's starting to eat through. Like you actually see like stone go up in smoke, and it's starting to eat through it.
Okay.
And yeah, it's pretty much like, yeah, starting with a kiss, and we'll see how it goes.
Roll me some damage, please.
It's 9 damage.
9 damage. Okay. So this hits, and you're just kind of this thing just kind of looks down, and then up at you and begins to get close. What is your AC?
It's 12. I'm a really, really strong dragonborn.
All right. He actually misses with his first attempt to hit you with this stone axe, but the second one actually hits. It actually finds purchase just in your shoulder. And what you're amazed at is just the sheer weight of this thing. This thing has to be several hundred pounds that this thing's wielding. It's a solid 7 or 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it's going to find purchase, and you are going to take 12 slashing damage as this axe just embeds itself in your left shoulder, and as that your black blood begins to spurt from it, it just kind of kind of pours
It's
out.
a little bit on it, but it's not as strong as the one braved out.
And while you see that this happens, the Baron actually comes next to you, Morn. And he actually stays 1 or 2 steps above, but he sits down too, and he taps you on the shoulder. It's not looking too good for your boys. With this big smile on his face.
She just smiles and kind of settles farther back into the steps and says, "It's just warming up."
And he says, "Would you like to help them? I certainly wouldn't want their blood on my hands."
I'll pass.
And he looks over at the Carmong. What about you? It's been a while since you've gotten to flex those muscles.
The Karmong reaches into his component's pouch and he takes out a small brick of graphite and he breaks it in his hand. It is the sound of servitude, telling him that he will do whatever Baron Brickon commands him to do right now.
He looks and he understands and he says, just make sure they don't die. But don't hurt my pet. And with that, we're back to Philip.
All right. If they want a show, let's give them a show. I'm going to go ahead and cast Guiding Bolt right at this Minotaur.
Okay. Basically,
so
it's a stone golem,
range,
for lack of a better phrase.
a stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ranged spell attack. 19.
That hits.
Okay, so that does 4d6 radiant damage. Oops, just need, let's see, 10, 15.
Okay. And what does this look like as
then,
this thing hits?
So, basically, it's just going to, I'm going to kind of gather energy force from a rat that's scurrying across this hall, and that rat is going to wither and die as its spirit just comes into my hand, and then I fling it right into the face of this golem.
Okay.
Right, followed up behind that as the bonus action, the hammer that I materialized last turn is going to come and wham, hit the golem again. But it's coming too fast and it misses it.
Okay. Baptiste.
So he got like his axe in my shoulder, and Vicar is going like muttering a little bit, and well, we'll see what goes. And he's gonna like open his mouth, and it's actually gonna unhinge a little bit, like it's really, really wide. And with his muttering sound, it's starting like to siphon out the magic energy. I'm casting Vampiric Touch. And trying to heal myself while doing necrotic damage. I don't know if it's going to work on this stone, but we'll see. So that's actually 14 to hit. I don't know if it's it.
No, that does not.
No. So yeah, the magic like stays in place, but its mouth is still like unhinged. It's wide. It's big.
Okay. And it's actually going to go for you, Philip, as you it actually gets 2 attacks. Philip, what is your AC?
It is 17.
17. Okay. First one misses. Oops, excuse me. First, they both miss. You're just maybe a little bit too far away. He does 2 axe swipes and just misses you both times. And when this happens, the Baron stands up and he goes back to his throne. He says, "Come. My daughter could fight better than this, but you do better. You certainly do better than this woman would."
Let me at him one solo. That's funny.
And he says, "Well, please, I need to be entertained."
I don't know about entertained, but stand back. And she kind of straightens herself, but she doesn't stand up. She just leans forward on her bent knees, and she flicks a finger upwards, and this just arc of lightning kind of flings outward. They would need to do a strength save against a DC of 14.
Ooh, critical fail. 1.
Okay. I'm casting lightning lore. So pull 10, and then let me get my dice out for damage.
Yeah, so this is going to be a good one. So you're really going to lay into him on this. So
Okay, it's gonna do 12 damage.
okay,
And so basically she leans, like I said, she leans forward, and rests her arms on her knees, and that finger just, you can see it flicking and pulling almost as if she's beckoning it closer, and it shoots out, wraps around, and just gives this like booming, crackling sound as its, form is jerked towards her.
awesome. All right, Philip, we're back up to you.
Great. I'm going to cast Command, screaming at this creature. Listen to me! You go ahead, roll a wisdom saving throw, DC 13.
No, I don't.
No?
No,
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, yep, damn.
it's a golem.
Yeah, I'm yelling at this creature, thinking that something's gonna happen, and I realize nothing's gonna happen, and I'm like, oh crap!
And
I'm gonna use the bonus action to. Sorry, go ahead.
But you actually hear when you start screaming at this thing, you actually hear the few people that are in this room begin to laugh out loud, especially the Baron. And you can just hear it echoing. You just made a complete fool of yourself. And he says the Baron actually looks over at the Karmong and he says, "This orc just yelled at a golem trying to win? What kind of people did you bring me?"
Karmong raps his knuckles 5 times. And every one is just basically saying, I brought you who you told me to bring.
And he just looks at you and he's like, "I've seen what I need to see. Help them. Destroy it. All of you."
The moment he gives that command, the Karmong reaches back and he grabs the mighty battle hammer that he's wearing, that he has not pulled out for many years. When he pulls it out, this thing is the size of his body. It takes usually 2 hands for him to wield, and it crashes into the stone right there beside him, cracking the beautiful tiles. You see bits of dust rising up. He grabs it with his other hand, and he lifts it high above his head. And as he does so, he slams it again into the ground, and you see sparks come up. He pulls it back, and he bats at the sparks. The sparks congeal. They become a fireball. It goes flinging towards this giant Minotaur statue, and it will detonate on top of it as I cast fireball on top of this Minotaur.
Okay.
There's going to be a DC 14 dexterity saving throw. Half damage on a success.
He failed.
I bet. Let me roll my army of D6s here. All right. Ooh, these are good rolls. All right. So we got 5, 10, 24, 30, 33, 34, 35 points of fire damage.
5 points of fire damage. So when this fireball hits Marquise, what does it look like? I mean, this thing is stone, but with the force of it.
So the beautiful thing about dwarven war magic is that it takes the raw elements that the gods have gifted them, and it turns them into nothing more than a battering ram. So when the fire hits it, it's not so much as it's burning or melting, it's the sheer shock wave of the explosion itself, sending cracks through the body and then pulling the cracks open with the force of the heat, and then just driving more force into it until it shatters, hopefully.
And with that long bearded dwarf that you saw that had his hands together and that was muttering, with that strike, you actually hear him just, "Oh!" and he actually falls down, and it basically breaks his concentration. It's as if he felt the impact of that, and you just see that golem just freeze in place. And the Baron looks at all of you and he says, "Well, 2 of you might survive. But I suppose every mission needs expendables or bait. Now, back to our discussion, Morn. You spoke of the island.
She still doesn't stand. Instead, she goes back to her elbows on the step and dips her head backwards to look at him upside down. A toothy smile spread across. Yeah.
You're a bitch. I just have to laugh at that. But if she could chew gum and pop it in his face, she would. That's what I keep picturing. But
damn it. Okay. She rolls her head back with a toothy grin and says, "Siren Vials. Thankfully, I can speak with the seas, so we'll see how it goes."
He says, take these people and make sure that you take the Karmong with you. Karmong has been ordered to protect you and to protect my daughter. Those are his only parameters. I care not what else he does. He looks at you, Jaka, and you, Vicar. He says, where you are going is dangerous. You probably won't survive. You don't have to go. But if you do, there may be a reward in it for you. I certainly wouldn't want you to get nothing out of risking your life. What say you?
And Vicar's mouth come back into place, like where it was before. He licks a little bit of his hand, and it's covered in this acid saliva, and he's gonna put it on the blood and just wipe it, and it's just fizzling the blood away, cleaning it and making the scale gleam. And he goes, "Well, you see, she told about islands locked in time. I was actually going there. Personal business, you see. Well, you can throw the extra bits, but if it's just stone moving, I'm not interested."
Are you telling me in my home that you will not try to save my only daughter? Is that what I understand? Because I may not have heard that right.
And, well, I will follow them. If we can save your daughter, so be it.
That's what I thought you said. That's what I thought you said. I knew I didn't hear that right. And you, Orc. Talking to Philip.
Realizing what he just said to the half dragon, he'll kind of get the idea and say, "Yes, it would please the gods greatly to spare a life that is wasted. We will save your daughter, as long as you, of course, donate to the cause."
We'll discuss that when and if you get back.
I don't think so. We're going to need a ship.
There's one already provisioned at the docks.
Well, that's what I thought then.
Exactly. So he walks over to the Karmong. And you guys wouldn't hear this, but Marquise, you would. He would say, if you have to sacrifice all of them for my daughter, you do that. This is not about them. Get Lara. Bring her back. You know how important she is. Do you understand?
The Karmong's mask creaks as it turns to look at Baron Brickarm, and he takes his warhammer. The top of it is actually just lying flat on the ground. He lifts it and he slams it hard. More stones crack. When a slave does this, it is a enthusiastic, yes, I will do what you want to, and I will put all of my vigor into it.
Okay. Would anyone, Marquise, would anyone else know this language? Do you think Morn would know it at all or no?
Morn knows enough to talk to basically merchants because that's what she deals with. She knows some slang because that helps her sell better, I would imagine. I'm the Dragonborn wouldn't know shit. And the other half orc, who is just kind of like very aloof, he might know more than he lets on. So I feel like he might know a little bit more about the language.
Okay. And with that, the Baron just nods. He says, "You must be back here, in 5 days. You know that is when it happens. She must be back here with the priests in 5 days. Do you understand?"
Is this to the Carmong or to the party?
He's kind of looking at all of you. He's standing right by the Carmong, but he's looking at all of you.
Yeah, and probably Vika is looking around like what happened in 5 days because it's just been here and has no idea what's going on.
Morn, would you say anything?
6, I got it.
Give me just 1 second. Just got something to check out real quick.
In the meantime, Marquise, this might not be true, but Morn is under the assumption that you were in fact loyal to this daughter, and that is why you put up with her father. It may not be true, but that is what Morn believes.
I won't confirm or deny that, but I will say that how the Carmong operates, and given like, we had the context clue that this is something holy and divine, right? And you know what the Carmong's like role is in society. So, I mean, if anything, he's at least very attached to what she represents or symbolizes.
Well, Morn's under the assumption that she might be the next in line. So that's where she's getting that idea.
All right.
So, Marquise, have you met his daughter? His daughter, Lara. Have you met her?
He has spoken to her in dreams, and that's it.
Okay. You know that Lara is about 12 years old, that she often strays out of the city into the mountains. Often you have been sent to find her. Often you have been assigned to guard her from herself. Morn, you've seen this child around the city, always either followed or with guards or with the Carmong. Just for your own knowledge. She is a rare thing in the dwarven world. She is a beautiful female dwarf. It's been rumored that she may have some elf in her blood, which her father hates. But for most of the people in the city, she's a little bit of beauty in a pretty dark place. She symbolizes that for them, almost hope for some people. And you also know that about a month ago, she had gone missing. You would know this more, as well with the Carmong. A month ago, she went missing. You were tasked right after that to find it. You told, the Carmong said that he saw her on an island in his dreams. You and the Carmong spoke then, and you were told to find it. That is what the Baron was talking about. Okay. So I would imagine that you guys could grab any provisions or weapons, armor, anything that you need in this citadel before heading down to the docks.
For the DM's knowledge, the reason Morn didn't immediately come is because she's heard of this Isle of Sirens and its legends and its lores, and she knows that they are vicious creatures that will rip them to shreds on sight. So she was kind of trying to avoid it altogether, regardless of her almost soft heart towards Laura. And as far as grabbing any provisions, she's completely light, only necessities.
Okay.
The Karmong only carries what the Karmong has made himself. So his breastplate, his half plate, made himself, his Laken mask, his weapons, and the training to become the Karmong, create everything. So he takes nothing from the armories. He takes no healing potions, no extra components, no extra rations, nothing, because he is the Karmong, and the Karmong will only do what he must do.
Okay. And very quickly, as you guys make it out the door, right before it closes, the Baron says one more time, 5 days. She needs to be here in 5 days. And you guys make that trek down, and we're probably mid-afternoon now. You make it back down through the city, through the forges, through the market, through the artisan guild houses, and you get back down to the dock. And Philip, what's the name of the boat? Or is there a name to it? Is it a big boat? Is it a small boat?
It's a smaller boat than we would have all hoped. It looks like it's well weathered, with Aries kind of faded out, worded on the front of the boat, and it looks like there's some oars as well as sails. So hopefully we don't have to paddle this thing, but looks like maybe we will.
Okay. And you guys get down there. What's the marching order here? Who would go in first? What would you guys do as you get to this boat?
As Simone approaches the boat, like heavy leather boots clinking, they kind of tie up all the way to her knees. And she kind of throws her hands down at her side, exasperated, and turns in a circle and looks down at Karmong. And she says, "What is this? Seriously, what is this?"
Karmong has been lagging behind because he's a dwarf. He's very short. They move on all fours, so they're pretty slow unless they're really trying to get somewhere. So by the time he gets on the boat, which took a good minute because of the superstitions he had to get around first, he finally gets on the boat, and when you ask him the question, he doesn't even answer. He just goes to his own little corner of the deck and sits down on it. Or rather squats down on it, really.
Can it even hold all of us? I mean, we're pretty heavy. And you see like the Kamon like going into it and probably like the boat moving a lot with his weight and chains.
What I'm kind of imagining right now is almost like a Viking boat. So it's,
Mhm.
it can be manned by a couple of people, but it's going to be some heavy manual labor to get out.
Like a shallow, like a longboat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They
Kinda
can
like it.
cross the sea and ocean for sure, but it's not going to be fun.
And Philip, have you ever been on a boat before?
No, never been on a boat. I stick to land as a point. I do not enjoy the sea. Nasty creatures out there. Looking forward to this.
And as all of you get in there, and you kind of untie yourselves from the docks, would this be a rowboat, Chelsea, or would this be like sailing? Would you?
It's a little bit of both. You're going to have to row yourself out to sea, but once you can catch the wind, it'll carry you for the most part.
Okay, gotcha. And just out of curiosity, would this thing have a name?
No.
Anyone?
There's no name, I would say.
Okay. And what type of provisions or gear would be in it? Do you think the Baron would have supplied you guys?
A lot of tack, I would imagine, to eat.
I've actually made that from scratch. It's terrible.
There's
Yeah, it's
also
horrible.
a sunstone.
I'm sorry, say
There's
again?
also a sunstone that's been provided for us. It's very hard to read, and if we hit cloudy weather, we're in big trouble.
Okay.
Yeah. Bare minimum, I think, pretty much.
And as you're following the flow of this river out to sea, it's fairly easy. Each of you manning an oar. It certainly goes where it's supposed to. I would, just with the knowledge of the sea that Morn has, she pretty well expertly navigates it through this river. And as the mouth of the river opens up, you hear a very familiar sound, Morn. That just kind of crashing of the waves, and you smell kind of that salty spray from the coast, and to you it's like you're home. And as you get again further and further, I imagine that you would drop the sails and begin heading out. What direction would you be going?
So this place was on an eastern coast. So we're trying to reach this point between two continents, and it's sort of to a southeastern pool, but it's not on any map. So we're kind of shooting in the dark and hoping that some kind of this rumored mystical force will pull us in if we get close enough, kind of like the Bermuda Triangle.
Gotcha. And as you guys go, Marquise, what's the weather? Figure it's probably early evening now.
So, in the dwarven slave reaches, the weather is always a light drizzle, and if it's not a light drizzle, it's always gray, right? Once you get out to the sea and everything, it begins to get a bit more sunny. That's why the sunstones work. But you can always see on the horizon a storm is lurking. You never know when the storm will come, but you always know a storm is there. You can always see that the storm is there. And Carmong looks at it, and he feels so just uneasy because the sea is the antithesis to the dwarf. It rusts their steel, it erodes their stone, it cuts deep caverns into their flesh and their minds. He hates it, and he sees that storm, and he just knows. He could feel it in his beard and his bones, that before they get to this isle, that storm will come sweeping right in.
Awesome. Philip, give me a Constitution save, please. DC 13.
18.
Okay. Then you do not blow chunks on your companions. So you start probably going through the night. You hear kind of the sound, on the horizon in different directions along the way. You see lightning, you hear distant thunder, but nothing's really coming to you. You continue in that same direction, Morn. And what is this connection to the sea? How would you describe it?
So this connection to sea actually came from a near-death experience. She was a small child when she was tossed overboard, left to die, and nearly drowned. And it was a merchant ship that picked her up. And ever since that, almost death at sea, she's felt this strange pull and connection to seek it out, as if that's where she was meant to die. So it's always calling her back.
Does she feel like it's always calling her back to die?
Eventually, but it's not done with her yet.
Gotcha. So I would imagine that the sea remains pretty calm, a little bit of wind, but the sails are moving you in that direction. Throughout the night, just that kind of sound of, waves lapping against the hull, and that kind of rhythmic up and down movement of the waves. None of you really take issue with that for now. But as dawn breaks, you do see shorebirds, and you're not near anything that should have birds. As you keep going, you see a small kind of rocky outcropping. And seeing that, Morn, would you tell them anything? Would you tell your companions anything? Would you do anything? Would you lower the sails? Would you what would you do with that, knowing that there is land in sight, but a land you're unfamiliar with?
What happens is, as her eyes kind of glance to that rocky outcropping, they go upwards, and she sees a caged bird she'd released during the night being scooped up and swallowed by one of the seabirds. And she takes it as a warning, and immediately feels this drag, like almost as if the boat is being pulled backwards and trying to fight. But nonetheless, everyone on the boat seems to kind of almost careen forward, and then backwards again as it's shoved forward without rowing, without the sails. It's just kind of swept forward, and she stands on her feet and grabs for the ropes of the sails and looks down, and she says, "It's going to be a bumpy ride. You better wake up."
Now, it looks like a beautiful day to you, Philip, and to you, you Baptiste. And she says, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Would you respond to that? Would you say anything?
Not really. We'll probably look around a little bit, and I don't know if there's anything magical, but looks clear to me.
What about you, Philip?
I'll just kind of look sideways at Morn, and I want to go and kind of shuffle towards Vicar, kind of whisper to him, "Look, Vicar, I'm not too sure about our compatriots here. They seem a little off to me. I just want your trust here. If things go south, I don't plan on sticking with these guys."
Interesting. Well, I stick to my own side always, so I hope you're on mine. And he's gonna tentatively just put his hand forward for a handshake. And I never got your name. Mine is Vicar. Do we even know those people?
Yes, I'm Jaka, and many blessings on you.
What's everybody's passive perception, please? Put it in chat. God, Baptiste is terrible. But
Yep, it is.
Okay. Philip, you begin to hear something. Something that makes you turn your head. It takes you, it's almost as if it pulls your head towards this land, towards this outcropping. And it's some of the most beautiful music you've ever heard, just singing or humming, just this kind of rhythmic sound that just makes you just want to go in that direction. Your other companions don't hear it yet. Would you say anything to them?
Yes. So is it still kind of in the general area towards land?
It's directly towards land.
Perfect. I'll say, yes, just over here. Let's go. Row hard.
And as you guys get closer, all of you begin to hear it. And it gets louder. And as it gets louder, that pull, that drive, that desire to get to this island becomes more and more, it feels like it's welling up in your chest. I need everybody to give me a wisdom save, please. Damn. Well, that was a DC 17, and only Baptiste failed. So the three of you, besides this Dragonborn, hear it. and you certainly want to go there. That's your destination, but it's just not. It just does be taking hold of you, Baptiste. If you could, you would jump out of this boat and swim the whole way.
Yeah.
So what would you do or say?
And like us, they probably like not go straight towards it and just like steer away. It's gonna go to, what are you doing? Let's go to land and just try to grab the steering like of a boat and just go straight for the islands. Yeah.
Morn, I would imagine that you're the one steering. How would you respond to that?
She kind of grabs hold of the rudder, but she's not trying to stop going to land. She's just trying to go in more gently. So she's not so much as fighting him as if she's trying to correct the course so that they don't crash.
So if the Carmong sees that this Dragonborn fellow is trying to like take the rudder from her and just being chaotic, see uneasiness aside, his little strong ass dwarf limbs will reach out and he's going to wrestle this dragon to the ground if he can.
Okay, give me opposing strength checks, please.
Is it a grapple check? So I can use athletics?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a 19 on the die. Plus, let me double check real quick.
Now that's a 12 for me total.
Oh, so I just went automatically. Right.
Yeah, basically. So what does this look like, Marquise, as you kind of spring into action quickly and just kind of wrestle him to the ground?
So it always makes sense that if Jors move like gorillas, they attack like gorillas, right? So he actually leaps over like a few of like the U benches. He jumps on your back, and you're kind of just like destabilized for a second. And next thing you know, you just see the sky spinning as you are slammed down hard into the floor of the boat, and the Carmong sits on your chest.
And with that, I'm just going to let that be. Morn, give me your choice, history or arcana check.
Both are gonna be bad. 6.
Okay. You don't remember what the dangers of this island are. You've been told, you know in the back of your mind it's there, but you just can't pull it. It's on the tip of your tongue right now. And you know that something lures boats there. And most boats that go there never come back. But the few that have tell stories of beautiful women that sing to them. But you don't know specifically what it is, what type of creature or creatures are there. But this was a place that Lara had become obsessed with in the last few years. You knew that. In the few times you met her, she knew that you were of the sea, so to speak. She would ask you questions about it. She would try to get information from you. Just FYI. Okay. Carmong, give me either an Arcana or history.
Or history. Let me see which one I have proficiency in. Okay, Arcana works. Okay, that's a natural 1.
You don't know a damn thing about this place.
Nope.
You don't want to be here.
I was not in the dreams. None of this was in the dreams. This is not what he signed up for.
Like, I ain't got no boat. I ain't got no sea. I ain't got no island. I'm good. As you guys get closer, you notice that this outcropping is just kind of the tip of this, of what you would only imagine would be an island. You see some large stone kind of outcroppings or boulders in front of everything. This looks, the way that you're headed looks quite treacherous. It would probably be better to go around this area, but that's up to you. How would you guys, I mean, this is your typical island. So although you're hearing this singing and it's drawing you there, you can pretty well put this thing wherever you want. So it would,
right?
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yes.
Hearing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I go ahead?
Yes.
Okay. She takes hold of this wooden shaft that directs the rudder. She places her palm on the end of it, and she kind of swings them in this wide arc, almost it's going to look like they're drifting, like car drifting in. So the actual side of their boat is going to hit land before anything. But as she does this, she's singing a very horrible rendition of "Way Hey Up She Rises."
And would any of you guys know that song?
Carmon
Surely
wouldn't,
not.
but Carmon hates it. He sound of anything not a dwarf singing. So this is just slowly tilting him as he just holds the dragonborn down.
Yeah, and he's probably wriggling like under you, but you're pinning him pretty good.
And where would you be pointing? I'm sorry, Chelsea, I was reading something at the end of that. Where would you be trying to take the boat?
So I'm going straight into that dangerous section, but the way I'm doing it is I'm slowing us with the length of the boat hitting the water, so that there's more, pressure hitting the boat as we kind of would come to hopefully a gentle sideways coast inwards.
You certainly see a beach beyond it, but what I'm going to have you do, I'm going to have each of you give me. We're going to do dexterity just for the purpose of it, but just straight D20, not your character. And Morn, you give me the first dex check.
4.
Well, you smash headlong into the first rock that you see. The furthest one out, you just whoosh. Roll me another D20, please, to see if there's damage.
Okay. 8.
There is damage. Roll me another one to see if you're sinking. Get above a 10.
14. Yay!
Okay. So this boat has like smashed in, and the front kind of hull is cracked, and you see it kind of squirting water a little bit. It's kind of seeping water, but it's not pouring in right now. And when it hit that rock, you kind of skirted off to the right. Another 30 or 40 feet ahead of you, you hit another one. Marquise, give me a dex save.
Can I cast a spell as I'm doing this?
Whatever you want.
Oh, so as he sees that crack in the hole, Carmon he's not, you can't tell he's flipping shit, but internally he's flipping shit. This is no. So he pretty much, he's like running off of the dragonborn, and as he gets close, he lowers his head and begins to sing a dwarf song to this crack, which is like, it's just second vocal cords, like Mongolian throat singing, and he's casting the mending cantrip, right? He mends this crack in the hole, and then he looks up, and I got a 7 on my dex save.
And you just smash into it. and this was also right at the front, so I need a dex save to see if you stay in the boat.
Oh yeah. Let's see what happens with this, baby. That's a 14 plus 1.
Okay, that's fine. You stay in the boat. I need 2 more rolls. One to see if there's damage, and one to see if you're sinking.
That's a 12 for damage.
Okay, no, you didn't take any damage, so you're good. So again, this one, you go in there and you start humming this song, and then it mends that crack. It's that water stops coming in, but again, but this time you get pushed over to the left, and you can see you're making headway through it, but it's like pinball at this point, just choosh, choosh, choosh. And finally, Philip, you do the final try to get around this large rock. You're muted.
9.
You smash into it. Roll again.
I yell out, "Rock on starboard bow!" And then we go to port. Oops, I meant port. I rolled a 2 on the next roll.
There it is. It is taken in water. And give me one more to tell me if you're sinking.
15.
You're not sinking, but you're still, Marquise, if you want to run over.
Yeah, you hear the clanking, heavy sounded knuckles, and you hear the throat singing again as he fixes yet another crack in the boat.
Well, all of this is happening. There is still a ginormous, shit-eating grin on Morn's face, and she is still singing to the top of her lungs, not even watching where she's going at this point.
Yeah, and probably as we crash, like each time we crash, you see the dragon bone rolling in the boat, like just crashing on the side, crashing on another side, and just like rolling and not like even getting on his feet.
I feel like at one point the dragon ball was like over one of the cracks, so I just like pick him over my head and throw him to another part of the boat and then mend that crack.
And as you guys kind of make your way through this kind of gauntlet of rocks that you happen to hit every single rock on the way, you get to basically what would be just a cove or a beach, and you just kind of get up on there. The boat just, and you are now safely on the island, the Lost Island, as Morn had said. And we're gonna take a 5-minute break because I got to take my blood pressure meds.
Okay, cool.
So. God bless the mending cantrip.
Yeah.
And for someone who speaks to waves, this half-orc is the worst sailor in all of the
May I remind you that the further this song goes, it goes early in the morning.
God, Jesus.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I was thinking like, okay, can I use like some kind of plant growth to mend the thing? And you just ran off to mending. And I was like, I'm on the ground and we're crashing everywhere. What should I do? I'm just gonna flail around. Can see you in a minute.
Can't hear nothing.
Great sailing. I think that was the worst sails I've ever role played in.
That's pretty good. So let me go ahead.
No, go ahead, buddy.
I was gonna say, let me announce that Dwarven language being through the clinks like the hammers and stuff is my best idea for dwarves to date, and I will definitely have to use that again.
Do it.
I like
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, I like it.
I just kind of took it as like a not so much just the dwarf thing, but like it's like a Karmong thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, originally I was going to keep it just a Karmong thing, but I was like, it makes sense because dwarves are always foraging, they're deep underground, long tunnels between them, and you would hear the clinking, throughout the whole tunnel.
Right. Absolutely.
Like, yeah, they could even communicate between tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like clink on the wall, and on the other wall you can hear the thing.
Exactly.
I like it.
I'm shoving food in my face, so I'm not going to turn my camera on, but I'm back.
Oh.
No problem.
I had to get a drink. I was thirsty. But yeah, with been on blood pressure meds for 20 years since I was 18. Mm-hmm. And they just put me on new stuff. And if I don't take it right at 8, my body gets all jacked up. So I got to take that.
Oh.
I understand that ship.
Well, I've been as high as 400 pounds as low as 220. I'm about 240 now, and it has nothing to do with my weight. It should, but when I was 18 and 8% body fat way back when, I still had crazy high blood pressure. Fucking genetics. Thanks, Dad.
I had heart failure, congestive heart failure in what was it, December?
Seriously?
Yeah, December 6th. I had congestive heart failure.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Well, it was from having there's something called postpartum cardiomyopathy.
What'd you call me?
It's basically you get heart failure from having a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like the best kind to get because your heart can actually heal from that.
Interesting.
So I'm back up to I think they said 80% heart functionality, which is really good. That's average actually for the average American kind of person. So I understand the blood pressure and all the meds and the shit like that because man, some of those things can give you the nastiest side effects if you don't take them.
Well, it's just like literally your head starts pounding and you just want to go to sleep. It's like the worst migraine ever. It's terrible. But anyway, it's not a big deal. By the way, yeah, when my wife had my youngest 6 years ago, she got gestational diabetes. So she's not diabetic now, but when she was pregnant, she was diabetic, which was very odd. So yeah, when you all get pregnant, you'll get all fucked up.
Oh yeah, I couldn't walk for 3 months.
So guys, by the way, what I'm doing, and I don't know if you see this, this is like a creature die. So anything that we run into is rolled on this, and the first thing I rolled was a construct. That's why you guys had that one. I'm like, how the hell am I going to put a construct in a throne room?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So anyway, y'all done, Chelsea? We good?
Yeah, those Rory cubes are pretty good. Yeah.
What are they?
I need to get those.
I can't see. Oh yeah. I got those for my 9-year-old. These things are awesome. So anyway, we have landed. Oh, look at Philip all board, just stretching. We have landed on the beach. Is a beautiful tropical island. You see palm trees and beautiful white sand beaches. What would you guys like to do?
I think
go ahead.
Vika is gonna just jump into land, spit on the ground, kiss the ground, and just go back up. And I never saw sailing before, and this is the worst I have ever saw of it.
Now quit being such a baby.
Carmon gets the hell out of this death trap, superstitious, demon-created boat. And now that he's on the sandy beaches, his toes just dig into the sand, and he just begins to gorilla walk his way up, further away from the shore.
And you guys hear, and Carmon and Morn, you guys would recognize this voice. You hear a very small girl's voice just kind of echoing almost on the wind. Help. Please help me. Help.
The Carmon raps 3 times on his chest, the armor sound resonating throughout. It's an answer to help.
And what about you, Morn?
Is that rapping expecting a response?
Hopefully from the daughter, and that's what he's looking for.
Yeah.
It's very faint, Marquise. It almost sounds like it's being carried by the wind. It doesn't sound like. It sounds like it's almost like an echo, like it's bouncing off of something or coming from somewhere as an echo. You don't hear anything in response to it.
At that, the Carmon briefly gets angry because the wind, specifically the sounds of echoes, is the trickster god in the dwarven pantheon, because echoes trick you when you're underground and they can easily get you killed. So realizing that's an echo and that his gods are playing tricks on him, he just kind of slams his face in the sand and his head creaks as the mask looks to the rest of the party.
Okay. Morn, what would you do recognizing this voice, recognizing that this is Lara's voice?
It sounds like her voice. She recognizes it, but she doesn't immediately trust it. They've been at sea for a long time, and not a long time, but overnight. And sometimes even the shortest ventures out in sea can make you a little crazy with nothing but water. So she kind of takes pause for a moment, and she wants to make sure what she's hearing is what she thinks she's hearing.
Give me an insight check, please.
Okay. That's going to be 13.
To your knowledge, this sounds legit.
Okay.
This sounds nothing about it sounds shady to you.
Okay. She drops her guard slightly, and she walks over, and she kind of grasps this like lip on the armor of the Karmong, and she hefts him up, back to his kind of like crouched gorilla stance, and she says, "I don't think it's a trick. I think it might be her. I can't tell where it's coming from, though." She looks back over her shoulder to the other two. Can you?
Dear God, is it the child?
It sounds like her.
I don't hear anything. Yet. And if I can't see her, I don't know.
One thing that you would notice, Baptiste, is this whole island kind of exudes magic. Like everything, the sand, the water, the rocks, the trees, everything is magical.
Yeah, and you probably see Vico's eyes. It's probably trippy because his eyes are changing color every second. Like it's not staying.
And some aspects, just due to your sight, are actually found to be illusionary. As a matter of fact, looking up the beach, several of the trees are illusions. And they're about 60 feet away, but you can see that. They look to everyone else just like normal, but to you, they have kind of a gray hue. And that tells you that those do not belong.
And it's gonna go like, well, this island is strange, especially those, and it's gonna Eldritch Blast those trees. Like just to point them out. Like it's like pointing your finger and there's a blast going on.
Okay.
Is it loud?
It's loud a little bit. It goes like, and there's like it looks like a glob of goo you threw, but when it touched something, it explodes actually into a green smoke.
My gods, are you mad? Are you trying to alert the entire island we're here?
And what happened to those trees?
I'm sorry, Baptiste. What did you say? I'm having difficulty understanding sometimes, dude.
So I was like aiming for the gray tree, like those that do not belong, like the illusory tree.
Yeah, they go right through it.
Okay.
It does not stick to it at all. Just like it's a hologram.
Those are illusions, but why? And it's gonna like probably go towards the trees and just like pass his round through it, like you show them.
Okay. Yeah, you guys would see that he goes over there and he looks like he's kind of weird. He's just going over there and he's got his hand out, and then you see his hand actually pass through these three palm trees.
Something isn't right here. We should look for any sign of Laura.
And you keep hearing that voice, Morn, and you hear it coming from somewhere within the forest. You kind of have a little bit of a heading. It's obviously not coming from behind you in the ocean, but it's coming from somewhere deeper within these trees.
What I'm looking for, just in my general area, is something tangible. Something.
Give me survival.
Okay.
And if anyone else wants to make a survival check, you can.
I cast a spell magic.
What's up?
I cast a spell magic.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
My roll
So
was 17, by the way.
I'll let you finish Chelsea's thing first.
Okay. Well, actually, I could do them both at the same time. As you cast the spell magic, Marquise, these trees basically just kind of flash out. They just kind of fizzle out. And not only these, but it seems like there was a line of these trees that were all illusions. So for the next like 40 feet, it's now just open. Of course, there are palm trees on both sides, but there's sand where those trees were. And Chelsea, you do see footprints. But you see several pairs. One pair with shoes, two without, and one of a small child.
Look here. Look. Dragon Boy, like I said, come learn something. These are
Karmong also comes.
She crouches down and she kind of, with her finger, she doesn't touch, but she traces the outline of the footprints and looks up. And when she does so, she can't tap on the sand. So she taps on her own knuckles together, making kind of like this bone-on-bone, like harsh sound. I'll let him interpret it however he wishes.
Karmong hears this sound. It's not a good sound. It's a bad sign. It's a sign that indicates that predators have basically attacked. They've been through the area. They've made kills in the area at the very least. And he knows this means that these sirens, as the island is called, that haunt this island, they are likely to blame it. If not them, then some other force that needs to be broken all the same. So Karmong, can he clearly see where the footsteps are going, where the footprints are going?
Yes, he can.
Karmong, without saying anything or making any of the sounds, he just begins knuckle walking his way, following them.
Okay. And what would the rest of you do?
Wait, my weird friend. Let me consult the gods and see what they say about our difficult journey here. I want to cast augury to cast some bones and figure out if we're going to be met with weal or woe, or weal and woe, or nothing.
Wheel? Like a tire?
No, weal, I guess it means something good. Woe is something bad.
Wheel,
Weal
WEAL is
Okay.
basically a good thing.
I'm sorry. Not familiar. So I've actually never had someone cast that spell, Philip. So fill me in. What does it look like? What do you do? What can you ask?
I'm just pulling out some bones and casting them. It's like a minor divination spell, and I cast it, and then the DM gets to tell me one of four things that's going to happen for the outcome of our plan in the next 30 minutes, which I foresee our plan being trying to like save the Lara. And so basically I want to try to see if we're going to be successful or have good things with weal, if we're going to fail with woe, or if there's going to be good and bad with weal and woe, or nothing.
Just so you know, this can be like super like as vague as you want it to be. It's like an omen.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
have this interpreted any way you want to.
Hmm.
Marquise has
Okay.
been very cruel to me with these in the past.
Okay. Do you actually have to throw bones?
Yeah, so I either throw bones or cast gem sticks, but I imagine being cheap, I'll just have some bones and I'll
Okay.
be able to scatter them and interpret them how they land. Maybe some teeth.
You
Chicken bones, yeah.
no, I like the teeth. You cast the spell, and you toss the bones out, and you just kind of look at them for a moment, their position where they sit, and all of them. How many bones are there, Philip?
12.
Okay. 10 of the 12 begin to glow this kind of radiant golden light. They're glowing. They look like mini suns. They're just glowing this. 2 turn pitch black and begin to smolder.
The gods are with us in our quest. We will be successful. Good Good omens. Good omens, friends.
The Cormong Knuckle walks over to you, and he picks up the pair of smoldering dice. Now, as a war mage, fire is a sacred element for the Cormong, but it's sacred not because it's a good thing. It's because it's literally taming the god of death itself and unleashing it on people. And he points to these two smoldering dice, and these two smoldering teeth, and he just holds them up to you. Like it's kind of like an indication of how in the hell could burning things be good?
Life is a balance, and if 10 can shine extinguished, that balance is in favor of life.
Carmong processes this heathen religion that only a fool would believe, and he closes his hand and he smashes the teeth to dust. He drops them to the sand, and he keeps going down to follow the footsteps.
Okay.
I would like to cast mage armor on myself.
Okay.
After seeing the burning, like I see the burning teeth, and you just kind of see Morn kind of sidestep slightly away from those two, and just kind of you see this kind of flicker over her eyes, and it kind of slits inwards like a reptile's eyes, and then back out, and it's not like a visible thing. It just kind of happened.
Okay. And Carmong, you're following the path. There's no the illusion was what was created to cover up these tracks. These are very easy to follow. You can follow them for as long as you want, several hundred feet, pretty deep into this kind of wooded area, and you come upon a cave where it looks like, even though you went deeper into the forest, there seems to be kind of this saltwater stream running across the mouth of this, going down into the cave. The odd thing is, as you look into the cave, it goes downhill, but the water coming out is flowing out of the cave instead of in. Seeing this would obviously be something that anybody paying attention would find odd. Would you guys talk about that or say anything about that? Or
Water is superstitious devil work. So Carmong stops and he looks to the others, and it specifically indicates for Morn to look at this because she can speak to waves.
I can't actually talk to waves. It's kind of all of a ruse. I've just, I get a sense at best. But by no means do I have any kind of clear images. I've just always had that drawl, and I've kind of over the years used it to my strength instead of my disadvantage. And when I see this just active earth and gravity defying motion, I try to process, but I can't seem to find any kind of explanation. I would like to bend down and kind of dip my hand into the water and see if anything happens.
your hand gets wet.
Oh, goody.
And pretty much like Vika looks oddly at you like, why are you all stopped? This is just a Nula river. It flows the way it wants to. It's normal.
What?
This place is closer to my place than your place. I think. It feels like home.
Where are you from?
Yeah, and he goes, well, I'm from the Withered Wood. In the right place. In the wilds. In the Feywilds.
Morn is gonna just snort, just chuff. And she looks over to the Carmong, and she steps foot into the cave and says, "Well, we're not making any progress standing here gibbering."
And you guys hear a very loud, like you hear like the water kind of trickling. Even though it's trickling up, you still kind of hear it kind of trickling through the cave. You hear kind of the echoes of your footsteps, bouncing off the walls. The light kind of shimmers on some of the quartz and stuff that's in the walls. And again, you hear, but much more loud and much more powerful this time. "Please help! Come help!"
Since I kind of started going in first, I want to kind of crouch walk as I go. I'm trying to do the heel foot silent as I can, avoiding any like loose pebbles that might, begin to trickle down the downward sloping hill into this cave. I'm definitely approaching this with some serious caution.
Give me a stealth check.
Did the footsteps, Drake, lead directly into the cave?
Yes. Actually directly into that water at the mouth of the cave.
The Karmong, he looks to where Morn is, and he knows she's trying to move stealthy. But the Karmong has been trained in the arts of trickery, and he feels like the hairs on the back of his neck are rising. His beard is getting stiff. And when a dwarf's beard gets stiff, it means there's some tomfoolery bullshit going around. And so he knocks on the side of the wall once, and I imagine it echoes down, and Morn would go frozen because of it, because she's trying to be stealthy. I'd imagine, Chelsea?
Yeah, we can go with that.
And then he very lightly taps on his masked nose, and it's a very, very faint sound. But that's how you know it's a trick, because a dwarf can always smell a trick miles away, but they can't always see or hear it.
She stops immediately, places a finger to her mouth, right between, right in line, just that shh. She doesn't actually make the shushing sound. And she fiddles with a pouch on her side, and what she brings up is this flask, and it's held inside this metal filigree etched with feathered wings and suns, and it kind of has this shield outlining all of it on the front. She bites into her finger and smears it with this line of blood and uncorks it promptly. She takes eyes with Karmong, and she kind of she takes her finger and drops it down to her lower lip, and she kind of drags it down a little bit so that her lip kind of drags downwards. And she's telling him basically to wait and listen. And what she's doing is she is about to consume a potion of etherealness, I think is what it's called.
Etherealness.
Yeah.
Etherealness. Sorry.
Okay.
I wrote it down in shorthand. And basically, to my understanding, it allows me to walk in an ethereal plane undetected.
Okay.
So I want to step into the ethereal plane and go scouting. Let me see how long it lasts. I actually lost my page. I'm not sure how long it lasts now. Let's see here. Okay, it lasts. Oh shoot! It actually lasts up to 8 hours.
But if you act though, don't you have Okay.
So basically, I step into the ethereal plane. I can see and hear what's going on around me, but it's really blurry, gray. I can't see more than 60 feet ahead of me.
So it's basically like when Frodo puts the ring on.
Mm-hmm. And I can only affect and be affected by other creatures on that plane. So yeah.
Okay.
If I decide to stop it at any point, I exit where I stopped in the ethereal plane, not back at my originating spot.
Gotcha. Okay. then you can absolutely do that. You take this potion and poof, you are Frodo.
So you see her kind of take this potion, and the flask drops to the ground in her stead. And I'm gonna head downwards and follow it, but I kind of am looking for the secrets, the treachery, the trick behind all of it. I can pass through walls and all that good stuff.
Okay. Philip and Baptiste, what you guys really don't know what's going on here. You just saw her disappear. What would you say to the Carmon?
Holy shit! Where did she go? What's going on here? Why
Carmon
did she
raises a
fight
fist.
herself?
Carmon's fist, like it's just basically up in the air in standard soldier fashions for be quiet.
And Vika is going, well, don't you see? She's going over there. And just like see her perfectly. Pretty much.
Philip, you're muted.
Oh, I wasn't saying anything. I was just...
So, Chelsea, as you go down a few, probably another 100, 150 feet, and it kind of curves to the right, then curves to the left. You come upon a weird kind of room. It's obviously been carved from, out by the seas, thousands of years ago. But there's like a makeshift camp with a small fire and several other kind of, I guess you could call them like bedrolls. But surrounding the outside of this room is water that is crystal clear, but it has to be 30 or 40 feet deep, probably 5 or 10 feet from each wall. But you kind of have this, like the eye of the needle kind of a thing, this island in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
You see a cage with Lara in it at the back end of this little island. You don't see anyone else, but there's just little, coming into this room, you see a few skeletons, old rusted armor and stuff like that. Kind of little, maybe a table or two strewn with just miscellaneous things on it. Maybe some books, some tomes, some weapons. It just kind of looks like kind of the gathering place for the lost and found of adventurers. And
Okay.
you just see Lara caged. You don't see her in pain or saying anything, but you just see her caged.
Do I still hear the calling voice?
You do not right now.
Okay. I'm going to kind of circle the room slowly, and as I do so, I'm going to try to kind of gauge my surroundings. I'm looking for, like holes in the cave around me where, someone might be hiding. I'm looking for eyes in the darkness, and, I like to envision how this kind of, ethereal walk is going, is that it almost looks like I'm swimming, and my hair's kind of floating behind me as I go, and there's like these wisps, and you can kind of see like light pooling off of my face and my body,
Mhm.
like that range of motion kind of visual.
Right.
And she gets to kind of the center, which is behind the cage, and she sees Laura, and her eyes peer over her several times, looking to see for any, discernible damage or wounds, and she kind of has this tickle at the back of her head, almost as if she's just feeling like there's just something not right, but she can't put her finger on it. And she steps up to the cage, and she kneels down, and she's basically trying to like really get a good look at Laura.
She looks dirty. Her clothes are dirty. She had on a white dress. It's now just kind of covered in muck and dirt and brown. Her hair's all matted, and it looks like, when you get really close, it looks like she's been crying. Like her eyes are a little bit swollen, but you don't see any marks. You don't see any blood.
And what does the lock look like? Was there a lock on the? I'm assuming there would be. She's locked in.
Yeah. A metal. It'd be just like your metal kind of padlock.
Okay.
That requiring a key.
Can I see where the water was coming from that was going upwards up the hill?
Yeah, it's actually coming. The little stream is actually the whole way that you went. The stream was only about 2 feet wide and maybe 2 feet deep the whole way that you were walking. But it looks like this water is coming from this room, the kind of the outer ring.
Okay. She goes back over to the edge and peers down into the water and kind of like kneels down for a second, just hovering her hand over. She kind of closes her eyes and kind of just whispers, "Why did you bring me here?" And she stands up, and as she's kind of mid-turning, she drops out of the ethereal plane and walks towards Laura.
And she's surprised. She's like, Who are you? You're another one of them, are you?"
Laura doesn't recognize me.
From behind, no.
Oh. Well, no, I was turning towards the cage.
When you first dropped, that's what she said.
Okay.
As you get closer, she's just terrified. She's just like shaking. You can see it in her eyes. She's kind of wide-eyed. And she's like, "Please help me." And you guys can hear that out in the back where you guys are.
Carmong hears that voice, and he just raps her name in dwarven on the side of the cave with his knuckles and hopes that she responds.
It's the child. Come on, let's go.
She grabs a small rock from... Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Philip.
I want to try to like almost push past Carmong if he's not going towards...
The Carmong will grapple you to the ground the moment you try and do that. Because he's like, "You people are interfering with what I'm doing." That's going to be a 17.
Hold
Strong.
on. But Philip, would you fight him though? Would you really try to fight him from stopping you?
No, not really. I guess I just like to appear to be the hero way more than I actually like to be the hero. So this probably works out pretty well. I'll let him tackle me.
As he just kind of tackles you to the ground, there's a brief moment of silence, and she actually heard it in her cage, and she grabs a small stone and she grabs that metal lock and she puts it in her hand, and she just she responds.
The Carmong looks up, like his head just like moves like a bird, like holy shit. And then he reaches into his pouch and he takes out a handful of feathers. He rubs them all over his face and his armor, and that whispering sound activates the fly spell. And he levitates off of your body, and he goes zooming down the cave directly towards he heard the sound from.
Okay. He turns into super dwarf. Baptiste, dwarf just flew down the room. What's up? What do you want to do?
It's gonna lift Jacka up, like grab her hand, like lift a little bit up, and then just let's go. Like dwarf says, okay, follow the flying dwarf.
Oh, now we can go. Okay, that's fine, sure.
And as you do, as you guys start heading that way, Morn, how close would you be getting to that cage?
I would assume that since they had enough time to be tackled and kind of like, gibber at each other for a few minutes, that as soon as she finished rapping on that lock, I immediately began to just start trying to like bash it open. Okay. Not even trying to pick it, I'm just trying to bash at it.
And you take a swing and you bash it, and just, this is a very rusted lock. It just falls off. It just kind of clunks to the ground. But what is your AC, please?
It is 14.
Okay. As you do that, obviously there's a sound, and you don't notice it, but behind you, two figures begin rising out of the water. They're not visible, but it's like the water's just kind of cascading down their form. And you only notice because Lara's eyes get big, and she says, "Look out! and at the same time, 2 lightning bolts fly, one from each side, going towards you. The first one misses you and just bounces off the ground. The second one actually lays into you, just square. I'm imagining in the shoulder. Oops, shoot. And you take 11 lightning damage. As both of them do, they actually become physical again, and you actually see these humanoid green-faced creatures with long flowing white hair down to the back of their knees. You know these to be green hags, and both of them are staring you down. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna raise some carnage. All right. How far away from me are they?
10 feet.
10 feet. Okay. What I want to do is move closer toward them, and as I do so, you kind of just feel this thrumming. If you've ever seen Pulse and you see that visual vibration, kind of just my whole form is beginning to shake, and I move closer to the two of them, and I would like to cast Booming Blade.
Okay, that's Unearthed Arcana, right?
It's okay. So basically, it's if they move after I make a melee attack, which I get to do now, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
They take 2d8 damage, but I have to make a melee attack first. So basically, I'm kind of casting this as a bonus action and making a melee attack right after.
Okay. Well, you can get one. They're probably 15 feet apart, but they're both about 10 feet from you.
Okay, let me double check the.
Sorry about that.
Booming Blade, yeah.
Because they're basically both at different ends of this. So both about 10 feet away from you, but about 15 feet from each other.
Yeah. Okay. So this is only going to.
Sorry if I didn't explain that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just trying to figure out how exactly she would handle this on such short notice, because she wouldn't have enough time to make a serious plan. So she's gonna step towards one and cast Booming Blade, and as she does so, she kind of does this twirl almost, this almost kind of really awkward twirl. And as she comes down on one foot, she strikes out with this dagger in her hand, and it almost seems to have almost appeared out of nowhere. Get my dagger information. Okay, so I've got a 16 to melee hit.
That barely hits.
Oh yay! Okay, it only does 1 damage.
So, what does this look like? What does this look like when you do it? Because I'll tell you how the creature responds after you tell me what it looks like that you do.
Okay. So basically, you see this vibration coming off of her, and she doesn't have the full intent so much as to hit and dig in with this blade, so much as to draw attention. And as she does that and it hits, and I believe I can do this. Marquise might need to correct me real quick if I can't. I would like to spend my sorcery points to cast a spell as a bonus action.
Since you used a bonus action for the cantrip, you have to do that in your next turn. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it's just going to be a really pathetic, wound up swing.
It's a flesh wound.
Yeah.
And this hag, as I imagine, you just get her in the thigh or something, and she just looks down, and then she slowly looks at you just eye to eye and just smiles. With that, I'm going to let all of you make it to this room, and I need everybody to roll for initiative. Wow, I'm rolling like crap tonight.
11.
Okay. Chelsea, I'm gonna need yours too.
Oh, it's a 13.
Okay. I need you and Marquise to roll again, please. Ooh. All right, so we're going to go Carmong first. Then we're going to go back to Chelsea. Then we're going to go Baptiste. Those guys. And then Philip, you're last. Matter of fact, I might make you sit out one round with a 1 on initiative. All right, Carmong. You come up and you see these 2 hags, and you know exactly what they are. You're probably about 30 feet away as you turn, and Morn is standing there with this dagger in her hand, with this creature just looking at her.
Chelsea, tell me, has Morn ever seen a slave war in person, or has she ever seen a slave war mage perform at their best?
Yes, she was there for the last war.
So you hear the telltale guttural singing and the sound of something scraping on stone coming towards you at very fast speeds. And it gets louder and louder and louder. And you see sparks deeper in the tunnel. And the next thing you know, everything in front of you, not you yourself, but everything in front of you is just encased in burning flames. As not only do I fireball both of these hags, but I'm also using my War Magic ability to Power Surge it, allowing me to roll another 2d6 on top of the 8d6 for it. So
8d6 each?
No, yeah, it's one spell, right? So they both have to make saving throws for it. So it's 8d6 damage to each of them, but with my Power Surge, it's 10d6 damage to each of them. So each one.
How big is this? Because they're 15 feet away from each other. So
it's a 30-foot size fireball.
And does Chelsea need to make the save?
I'm trying to aim it in a way so that way it would just barely miss her, if that's possible. If not, then yeah, she has to make the save.
No, I think she would need to make the save if you were going to try to blast them like that.
All right, so that's fine. It's going to be a DC 14 save.
Okay.
Dexterity.
Woo! Both of them failed, and one of them critically failed.
Oh, okay, that's beautiful. Okay, so we got
Chelsea failed too.
19, 23, 25, 26, 30 points of fire damage. The Carmong is not fucking around right now.
So, Chelsea, describe that for us. Your friend, the Carmong, just set your ass on fire.
How much damage was it?
It's 30 points of fire damage, and anything that's flammable on your person also catches on fire.
But she's flammable.
Yeah, I'm extremely flammable. I'm so flammable that my dreads are burned off in a sizzling, smoking spray as my entire body collapses. Get on the ground!
So I've KO'd one person. I'm doing God's work.
Marquise forgets that he's not DMing. He's supposed to help the party, not kill them. I know it's a change for you, buddy. I know it's a change, but that's fine. So the other two, I mean, they are the same thing. You've actually singed this long flowing white hair that they had. You actually singed it all off. These hags are now bald, and there's like charred patches on their head. Their robes have charred off, and they are naked, and their body has little black pieces of char and just kind of wrinkled, yucky, old lady body.
Between these naked winches, the Carmog lands like a meteor, sand and dirt kicking up, and he just begins to beat his chest like a gorilla as armored sounds ring out through the caverns.
So I suppose we're not going to go to Chelsea unless you want to make a...
Oh, I failed it.
Oh, you failed the death save?
2 more fails and she did.
Question: Did they at least get moved when you fireballed them?
No. We're gonna go to Baptiste.
So, yeah, Rika is like going down the tunnel after the dwarf, not seeing that Jaka is a bit left behind, probably like, I don't know, stumbling. And he sees like the chaos, and he's not looking actually at Carmong. It's actually at the witches and go, Trima, Joanna, weird to see you here. It's not your lucky day. and it's just gonna blink. So blink out of existence. So we'll see if it's working. 18. So yeah, it's in another plane. So blinks works every time at the end of your turn run 11 or higher. You are vanished from this plane of existence to the ethereal plane.
Okay, so you are turning invisible, basically.
Yep. And so, yeah, in name the witch is by name, Traima and Chahilna.
Okay. So you just had your friend die, well, your companion die, and you're like, screw this stuff, I'm out. See ya.
Yep. Too much fire. Too much fire.
On that note, okay, then it's going to be their turn. The first thing that's going to happen, the one that is closest to Marquise, they're going to cast a lightning bolt at you, Marquise. Give me 1 second.
Are they making an attack roll for that?
Yes.
So Carmong is going to turn towards that one and just throw up his hand as he casts shield, and you just see a prismatic, like quartz shield appear like in front of him, increasing his AC by 5 as a reaction.
So what's his AC now?
21.
Yeah, he completely misses that. I imagine that that lightning bolt actually just hits that shield and just kind of bounces off, just kind of fizzles out. The second one is actually going to charge you, Carmon, and just with claws, and is going to. Let's see here. Hold on.
Ooh, I just got crit.
Yep, and with her plus, hold on. I can't do my thing. With her plus, that's actually going to be a 20. That's going to be a 24. So that is going to hit you. So hold on, let me see what that's going to be. Well, okay, so you're going to take 23 slashing damage. As I imagine, with both hands, she just comes up and just rips some of your armor and some of your skin as you begin to bleed, as just these nails dig deeply into you. We're going to go to Philip.
As I round the corner, just like, holy shit, what happened? I felt the heat of the fireballs, but I didn't see it, and I heard it for sure. Holy shit. I see Morn on the ground, and I have to first rush over to her and heal her, and I'm going to expend a level 3 slot for this. So that's going to be 3d8 plus 5.
You might get her back to full.
Yeah, I'm hoping to help. All right, sorry. Need some more d8.
Chelsea, is this the first time that Marquise has killed you, or one of many? I know, right?
I am one of the lone survivors in most of his games.
Not today.
That's 21.
21 points.
21 health restored.
And if I remember correctly,
As I just am
stabilized, right? Or does that just like?
No, you're back at 20 HP, so you're good to get back up and fight.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yep, absolutely.
And I'm just pulling life from every spider, every small, tiny little creature in this space, and pushing it back into Morn. And I, as a bonus action, want to cast Spiritual Weapon also, which actually does do damage on being cast.
Okay, go for it.
It's a melee attack.
The one to your left or the one to your right?
I'm going to do the one to my left.
Okay.
And that is 17.
Yep, that hits.
Okay, and that is 1d8 plus 2, 6 radiant damage.
Okay, awesome.
This spear of just materializes and stabs it.
We are back up to Carmon. You've used that shield. You've blown up your friend. She's back up.
Yes.
Now what?
Carmong is bloody and bruised during his attacks. In fact, severely so. Because in order to become a war mage, a lot of your constitution has to be traded for the power to weave the power of dreams. But even so, as the claws come free, he takes the hammer and he hits himself in the chest with it. As he does so, the reverberations of the sound coalesce, and you see 3 Karmongs are now surrounding this one hag as he casts the spell Mirror Image. So basically, the other 2 illusions have a AC of 11, and when I'm attacked, I roll a d20. If I have 2 illusions and I get an 8 or higher, they attack one of the illusions. If I have 1 illusion left, if I get 11 or higher, they attack that one.
Awesome.
And that's my turn.
Chelsea, you're back up.
Okay. What I am going to do is she doesn't stand up immediately. She kind of just has this moment where she goes from flat on the ground to sitting straight up, and her head turns to either side, and she sees Karmong standing there kind of bruised, but 3 versions of himself, and she shakes it thinking that she's got she shakes her head thinking she's got double vision, and her eyes focus back on the hags. And I am going to question Marquise, can I use Twinned on Crown of Madness?
You can.
I'm going to do that. So they both need to make wisdom saving throws.
Okay.
Against a 14.
First one fails. Second one makes it.
Okay. The one that fails, every turn is going to melee attack the other.
Okay.
Second question, Marquise. Since I haven't used a bonus action, can I use more sorcery points to cast a bonus action?
You can for a cantrip only, so not another full spell.
Okay. So what I want to do is use my movement to kind of line up with the hag that is controlled with this. Basically, it looks like this crown, and it's got thorns digging into her head, and it's glowing this kind of like dark energy light, and it's digging in. You can see like little drips of blood trailing down her forehead, and you see Morn kind of taking quick steps to stand behind her, and she throws her hand out with more vigor than she did back in that throne room, and she makes this pulling motion with her hand instead of just her finger. That one will need to make a strength save.
Okay.
It's against a 14.
It's a 12.
Okay. I believe it doesn't pull and it takes half damage, or does it do nothing at all? Oh, I don't know.
It failed, so it would pull.
So it does nothing.
Yeah.
Huh?
No, it failed its saving throw, so you would pull
Oh,
it.
I thought it passed it. My bad. Okay. My bad. It's pulled 10 feet and takes...
So that's the other one, not the one with the crown on, right?
Yeah, the other one.
Okay.
It's going to be pulled towards the one with the crown on it,
Okay.
with this lightning lasso,
Okay.
and it's going to take 10 damage.
Okay. So yeah, it's right in front, probably 5 feet away from the other one. Let's see, Baptiste, it's your turn, and then it's theirs.
Okay, so Vicar blinks back into existence, and since he sees one with the crown, he's going to aim for the other one, which is probably on Karmong, and go, Draima, for the crimes of trebuching on the land of my lord, you are sentenced to death. And I'm going to blast it twice with Eldritch Blast.
Okay. AC 16.
Yeah, this one makes it. It's like 22, and this one is 18 plus a lot.
Okay.
So both makes it. Okay, we'll see, and that's 10 total. And then we'll see if I blink back. And no, I stay on display.
Okay. That one is going to go for you, Morn. What's your AC?
My AC is, I believe it was 14. She would have to move past the mind-controlled hag, though.
Okay. Well, let's see how we do that. Okay. So she would actually probably take a moment to realize what's going on, and she would try to, I imagine she would do this claw and just, kind of go in. I would think that the one with the crown of, it's Crown of Madness?
Mm-hmm.
would actually step to the side to actually take that hit for you. And she's going to take 10 slashing damage as her sister actually rips just a hole from her left shoulder down all the way to the left side of her belly. And she is just like, "What did you do that for?" And you said the other one is mind controlled, so she has to attack?
She has to, yeah.
Okay.
So target of my choice, obviously I'm targeting the other.
And she misses. She tries with her claw. She does not do anything. She rolled a 4. So we are to Philip.
All right. So has Lara broken out of her cell yet?
The lock is broken and the door is open, but she is still sitting in there cowering.
Okay. I'm going to go over to her and try to coax her out. Lara, come with me. We need to get out of here.
Let's see. Give me a performance check. Or even just a charisma check would be fine.
Rolled a 3, and I have a 0 to charisma.
No, you're ugly. Get away.
Blast it! As my bonus action, I'll have my spiritual weapon spear just kind of go and try to stab one of the hags again.
Which one?
The one without the crown of madness.
Okay.
And that is a 20. Not natural.
Okay. Hits.
And 5 damage.
Okay, back to Carmong. This other one, having just been ripped open by her sister and then speared with this spiritual weapon, this hag falls to one knee. She's charged. She has no hair left. She's naked, and she's just like, "Oh, we were almost there. We almost had our coven." She isn't dead, but she's down on one knee. What would Carmong do?
Carmong is what's a Carmongify this bitch real quick. So he lifts his hammer above his head in both hands, and he pulls it down on top of him. As he does so, it begins to glow this almost beautiful amethyst color as I cast a magic weapon on it and turn my battle hammer into a +1 magic weapon. And then, because it's a versatile weapon, I hoist it up in both hands, kind of limber over to her. I'm just going to bring it down and try and smash it on top of her skull. Okay. So, ooh, that's going to be good. So that's a 14 plus 7, so I'd say 21 to hit. Yep. And I already rolled damage, so it's going to be 11 points of damage.
So describe what this looks like when you killed her, when you squash her.
It's very violent. Slave battle is known for not being pretty, because the less pretty something is, the more honest and true it is in dwarven culture. So the moment this magical hammer lands on the top of her head, literally her skull bursts like a watermelon, and you just see blood and brains and eye mucus and everything just splatter everywhere. And then he lifts it back up, and the other 2 duplicates of Carmong begin to kind of drag their hammers through the sand as they move towards the other hag, and that ends his turn.
Okay. Morn, this one that is left has your crown of madness. This is Trima. Okay. As the Dragonborn said. What would she do now that she has nothing to attack? Yeah, I think he's right. I think it'll have to attack us.
No, it doesn't have it. It chooses my target. It's let's see here. What are we gonna do?
I've actually never been in that situation before, so
yeah,
I don't.
Well, she's mind controlled, so I'm assuming I can walk up to her and slit her throat. No?
Well, you're probably not going to do enough damage in one attack to kill her. She's got plenty of hit points left. Okay. But if you want to do that, sure. And I'm assuming that would break your crown of madness at that point.
In that case, fireball.
Wait a second. I don't think that's the best decision you should make, Chelsea.
This is the exact decision Morn would make.
Wait. So hold on. So in the middle of the game, Carmong would be like, Morn, that's not the best decision you should make. Yeah. because the hag's just standing there doing nothing. So you're all going to have a little powwow at this point, right?
No, Morn cackles and casts fireball.
God damn it.
Okay. I'm just going to say that you hit.
Okay.
Wait, you know what though? Roll an attack for me, just to see if you do terribly.
No, I did exceedingly well at 18 without my modifiers.
Oh, okay. Well, then you roll your damage.
Okay. Rolling damage, rolling up damage.
You guys are-
first one's an 8. Let me write this down so I don't forget. Oh, sorry, I'm rolling the wrong dice. My bad.
You're
I
fired.
read D8, it's D6. My bad. Okay, ignore this. Hold on.
What is it? 66 or 36?
8d6.
Yes.
Yes, I'll be very surprised if this hag lives.
I don't think she's gonna kill her.
And if she doesn't, God knows Carmong will on his next turn.
All right, so we got 6, 9, 13, 18, 19, 22, 26.
Plus
What?
2. Is that 8 total? 6.
Yes. So that's 26.
Okay.
So obviously the crown is burnt off from here, but what does this look like? And no, she is not dead. What does this look like as your point blank range now? Is this within 30 feet? Just like Marquise's was, or what?
This is exactly like Marquise's spell, except I dead centered it with no care in the world for who was nearby.
Well, you were within 30 feet too.
Yep, I sure was.
So you and Marquise, I think the other two would be fine. You and Marquise are going to need to roll.
I pass, and so it says 26 damage total.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
It's 20 feet, so wherever we'll do this in another realm. I don't know what's gonna do.
I'm not dead yet. I am very close, but I saved, so I'm good.
Against my 14.
What's up? I'm sorry.
I asked him against my 14.
Yeah, because I have a 15 on the die.
All right, let's see what I got here. Oh, I got a 15.
So you take your half damage too.
Okay.
So
what was my total?
Your total was 26.
Aha! I'm alive.
So with this, I imagine this hag just bursts in even more flames. She's like, "Oh, stop! It burns! It burns!" And she's just more charred pieces of skin, and now the skin is actually like flopping off, just this charred chunks of meat. And she falls to her knees, and she turns to you. Please let me live. We just needed the child. Please let me live. There is more for you to know.
Is she talking to me?
She's just talking to all of you. She's facing you and Carmong.
Well, I'll let you guys know that Morn is standing over her with black eyes, her hands down at her sides. There's still licks of fire like gasoline dripping from her fingertips, and she's breathing heavy. Her hair is all long been singed off, left bald, and you see kind of like these burn singe marks just spreading across all of her skin. There's just a drip of clothing kind of covering her modesty, and she looks behind her, double checking to make sure Laura's safe, and then her eyes narrow back down at the hag. Someone finish her.
Philip or Baptiste, you guys give me something.
And just is not gonna blink. It's just gonna walk forward, and she's on her knees and is almost like going for a little of a hug, and it goes, Traima, for the murder of one of my dad's son, you are sentenced to death. And he's gonna put her out of her misery by dousing her in his acid breath. Just like hugging her and dosing all over her like breath of acid.
Roll me some damage.
Okay, let's see. 8.
Okay, that is not going to kill her. At this point, you're just hugging her and just point blank, just melting her skin again. Just chunks of her skin that were charred, and now they're melting and just gelatinously just falling off. And this thing is just tortured. And Philip, you have run over and you've kind of stood in front of Laura. What are you going to do? So seeing this creature just in agony, flesh melting off of her bones. He's going to sit there and look at me.
Was that was for Jaka?
Yeah, no, I was just saying, no, you had walked over to Lara. Did you want to do anything? I know you hadn't really said much.
Yeah, so basically, I'm going to say, Lara, we need to get out of here. These fiends are as likely to burn you as they are these hags. Let's go. Geez, they're crazy.
And I feel like Laura would recognize the Karmong. One, because the mask is always the same, and two, because they talk in dreams.
Yes, she does, and she slowly takes a few steps out of the cage, and she actually looks at you, and she extends her hand to Jaka, but kind of like hesitantly looking at you, Marquise, like, is this okay that she's taking his hand?
Carmond raps once on the side of his armor, saying, "No, do not take his hand."
Okay, so then she would pull it back. She would pull it back. And Marquise, it's now back to you. This creature has been burned twice. She has been melted with acid, but she is still alive, begging for her life. Just, please, don't do it. What would you like to do?
The Karmong, all Karmongs have three things they are taught to avoid in their training. One is trolls. Two is worms, the flightless kind. And three are hags, because these things haunt the forest of the dwarven mountains, and they work foul tricks in order to consume dwarfish flesh. And so as he towers over this thing, this melted, putrid, boiling, bubbling, pus-leaking thing, I have on the die here an 18, as with all modifiers. And he's going to lift his battle hammer into the air, and that is going to be an 8 + 4, so 12 points of magical damage as he tries to just basically just blow her head up as well.
That's exactly what you do. She is hag butter at this point.
And hag butter on Vika. Most of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody, Morn, Vicar, absolutely. You're just covered in it. Jaka, not so much. You got a little bit of distance there. But how would you respond, though, to her pulling her hand away and knowing deep inside you would know that the Karmong told her to take her hand away?
Jeez, what's the need for all of this death? She was clearly incapacitated. We could have saved Lara. Why?
The Karmong looks at you and he speaks for the first time with his own vocal cords. And he says, "That eat her, no live."
I'm not going to eat her.
No, that. And he points to Hag A, that. And he points to the buttered hag. And then he says, "Eat her." And he points to Laura.
Even if they were going to eat her, we didn't have to kill them. We could have we had them incapacitated.
The Karmong is not one for long bouts of conversation. He hooks the battle hammer back on his back, and with his 2 hit points, he limps, sways over towards the cage, and he rests his knuckles on the ground, and he bows his head for Laura to come from the cage and to get on his back.
And she would do so. She would absolutely do so. The other 3 of you, what would you like to do as Laura kind of runs, and she obviously is very comfortable with the Karmong and finds him safe. So she's pretty well taken care of. What would the other 3 of you like to do?
Vika gets out a dagger and just cut out the little finger of both of the hag, and he's humming like, for the father, for my mother, for the land. And just like is cutting like neatly fingers after fingers and starts like putting them into a pouch. Oh, I like when a contract goes as attended. I'm all good. And is almost happy, like giggling, and it's really weird. Like
Yes, yes,
sound. Yeah, and it's pretty much like almost like his patron sending like joy through him because he accomplished like what it was intended to.
And Philip, sitting on one of the tables, you notice a tome. What do you remember? What's the name of your deity?
Yes, so I always like to say that I am a priest of Groomsh, but secretly I actually have to pray to Ilmater because he's the one who controls life.
The Ilmater holy book, one that you'd be familiar with, is one of the items just strewn across this table. As you just kind of glance at it, this is an ornate version. It's kind of, has this kind of gold foil on it, and it's got kind of encrusted gems along the, the spine and along the front. This is several thousand times more valuable than any that you've ever seen. Yours have always been kind of just rotten paper and old. And as you get close to it, it begins to glow slightly. Would you touch it?
What is this? A sign from my god? Of course I would go and rush over and try to open it.
And as you do so, you get kind of this light, just kind of blinding light shooting up from the book into your eyes. And for a moment, you kind of cover your eyes as that just sun. And in your mind, the image of those two bones, those two charred bones, appears. Would you say anything or do anything?
I know that the hags are those two charred bones. Knowing that my two pieces of my divination set have been gone or destroyed by the Karmong, I'll go ahead and go over and pull a tooth out of each of the hags to replace them for my set also.
Okay. Morn.
Yes, that is my name.
Jackass. So you being kind of the sea as far as your background, these hags in this kind of island, would you do anything with the bodies? Would you just leave them there? Would you? No.
She stretches with this just dissatisfied look on her face, just kind of snarling at the remains left over. She's kind of dropped that black-eyed, glazy, breathing hard expression and just kind of really weird vibe she was kind of putting off there for a minute. And she takes a step towards the Karmong and looks up out the opening, kind of longing to get out of the cave. And she just says, "Pity with them. We've done what we need to do. Let's try to figure out how to get off this place now."
Okay. Philip, would you keep that book?
Absolutely. I would definitely keep that book, and I would try to take it without anyone else noticing. I don't want them to know that I have it.
Okay. And with that, what would you all say to each other? Would you be getting out of here? Morn said she wanted to go. What would you guys want to do? Talk amongst yourselves.
The Karmong is breathing very hard. You can see blood dripping from his armor, and you can tell that even the relatively light weight of lore is kind of heavy on his back because he is weakened. So like his hands are shaking, his arms are shaking as he supports himself on his bare knuckles. and he tries to move towards like the entrance and everything, but he's barely moving, and he's just taking laborious breaths with every single hobble.
Okay.
And Vicar is actually like licking his tongue and drawing a symbol on the floor. It's actually really intricate, like a whole circle, and puts like the pouch of Hag's fingers in it, and he mutters a little bit, and it just seems to like vibrate, like almost like the finger moving inside the pouch, and then you see it's kind of sink into the floor, and it goes just shaking the writing he done with his acid that like just gone into the stone, and they fade, like the stone almost like going back into it. Well, judgment is done. What are we waiting for? And he looks at Carmong that is just like hunching. Oh. Can we do something for the dwarf? Or do we wait?
Carmong, here, come here. Let us pray. I know that this is not your custom, but I promise you, this will restore your health.
I imagine like you hear the creaking of the mask again as he just looks at you like, did this heathen just ask me to pray? But knowing that there's a bigger thing at stake, namely the thing on his back, he just hobbles his way over to you, and he just stares at you.
Knowing that he is really reluctant, I'll go ahead and make this a good one, a good healing spell slot level 3. So, but you must not be very open to the healing process because you only get healed for 11.
But that's enough for Carmong's arms to stop shaking. He's still very badly hurt, and he reaches into his pouch, and there is something in it that's made out of a miracle glass that can almost never break because it was meant for someone that is not Carmong. But that's someone he believes he will no longer see, and if he does, he will have to make another one. And you see this potion, you see vines and golden leaves wrapping around the glass and everything. Inside of it, you don't see liquid, you just see gas. And he uncorkscrews it, and the gas begins to kind of smolder out. And he brings it to his nostrils, and he just breathes in this mist, and his body begins to shimmer and to change. And then Moore is going to find herself delicately floating inside the gaseous form of Carmong. And he begins to move towards the exit of the cave, just carrying her in his gaseous body.
Can he carry anything?
It doesn't. So what it says is that anything I'm carrying, I cannot drop, but I also is not dropped essentially in the spell. So I looked it up. I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
So
go ahead.
So Lara is riding in the center of your cloud of gas.
Yes.
A dwarven gas cloud. Okay, we'll just go with that. We'll just go with that. That sounds unbelievably disturbing, but okay. She's going to ride basically Nimbus out the door. Morn, you would want to leave it as well, correct?
I would imagine I'm already up and out. I didn't wait. I didn't stop. I wanted out of that cave desperately.
Okay.
It was kind of like sparking something inside that I needed to control. And in fact, I would dare say that during this kind of time where they were healing and praying and turning into gas bubbles, you wouldn't find Morn until you reached the coast sitting on a rock watching blood drip into the ocean.
Okay. And, excuse me. And as you guys all get there, the boat, you're sitting on a rock near the boat. The boat stays where you guys beached it, basically. You look at the horizon to a storm coming in. You remember now you have 3 days left. Brickarm said, have her back in 5 days. This is your second. You know that it'll take you another day to get back, but depending on the storm, maybe more. What would you like to do?
Carmark's form rematerializes, and it has Laura. She's kind of like falls on his back, and he sees the storm, and he shakes his head, and he just squats on top of a rock. He raps 3 times. No, he refuses to get on that boat until at least maybe a night has passed at the least, because he will not brave a storm in the middle of the night. He doesn't want to brave a storm at all, really.
Okay.
And can we roll something to know if it's a big storm that could last for days on end?
If anybody wants to roll me a nature check, sure.
Yeah, I think I will roll nature to see if it's something that could last for days. And we need to convince the dwarf to get on. That's a 16 total.
You would know that. You wouldn't know exactly how long this lasts, but this looks like a typical thunderstorm to you.
Mhm.
It doesn't look like a huge, like a hurricane or something like that. It just looks like your typical storm. So you would assume probably half a day, maybe a day.
Yeah. So let's just wait it out. Okay. I agree with the dwarf. Let's wait.
And Philip and Morn?
Moore's kind of she's unresponsive to the situation. She's not even really listening. She's just sitting there entranced, staring out into the ocean.
What is she entranced by?
She's watching her blood still fall into the water. She's just completely focused on it, zoned out.
Okay. Philip?
I do not like this island, but if we must rest up for a night, I understand. Let me try to get some warm food in our bellies.
And as he goes and do that, Carmong's parameters are to protect Lore and to protect Morn. So with Lore on his back, he hobbles over to her rock, and Morn, he's just going to try and reach up and pull you off the rock and take you deeper into the beach.
She doesn't so much fight it, but it's like this sluggish movement where like her limbs are kind of limp and her shoulders bent inwards, and her leg kind of slides off the rock, and she follows it limply, if you can picture that.
And then once we get to a place where we won't drown from rogue waves or be hit by giant winds, like kind of like a little bit of shelter, he sits you down, Morn, and he takes Laura off his back, and he puts her beside you. And he kind of squats, and he takes up these 2 stones, and he does for Laura what he always did in their dreams. He begins to play traditional dwarvish music for both her and Morn, just clacking the stones again and again in very rhythmic ways. The beat manifests, and then the throat singing follows it.
And as Vickers see that like for rhythm, like it's some kind of like constant thing, a little bit like really a rhythm going on, is gonna go and spark some silent images, and just like as the rhythm is going, change the image, like boom, starry sky, and just like make it like almost a story.
And I think Morn, I think the reason that she's so entranced by what's going on is this isn't the first time you've been to this island. You've been here before. Almost 13 years ago, you had to come get this child once before. And I think you would be pondering that, sitting there, watching your blood drip.
So when she was a baby, or like as she is now?
When she was a baby.
Okay. I don't say anything. I feel like this connection to the silence, as though it kind of protects me in a bubble. But you see her fingertips kind of bounce and dance slightly, and you see this trail of water digging a little canal. It's no thicker than a penny, kind of coming up from the beach. And it twirls and twirls and twirls. If I need to, I'm casting some kind of precipitation spell. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it twirls, and it forms the shape of the hags, and they're kind of cackling, making this cackling, silhouetted shape over a bundle that represents, the baby. And she kind of like plays the scene out as a memory. And she remembers that, and I hope I'm not going too far when I say this, she remembers that the only reason she has any power over Brickarm is because she knows his secret, that Laura isn't even his. And she's been holding that over him for years, and she's contemplating why she's even bringing Laura back to him in the first place.
Carmong, you would know this.
When the goddess of mountainous rivers spoke to Carmond, there is a reason that she told him to go seek out the woman who can speak to waves. As he's clacking the stones together, he stops when he sees the water, and he stops singing, and he looks to Laura, and he begins to rap very gently on his chest about the dreams that they were going through together, about the dreams of all this, and about the dreams of maybe finally being free from this ritual that she's been having to participate in since her birth. Because the gods have plans for everyone in dwarf culture, and sometimes those plans involve the dwarves moving to somewhere else and making mountains in distant locales. And he puts the stones down, and after he's done tapping, he looks to you, Morn, and he says, "No, go back. Go south."
She has almost this like slight hopeful spark, and she looks kind of over to I'm gonna murder you guys' names, Jacka and
Vicar.
Dragonborn, Vicar, and I know you guys are a bit in over your heads here, but we can't take her back there.
Can't take her back to her father? That's the safest place for her.
That man is no father. He's a master, a controller. He doesn't care about her. He just cares what she can do for him.
All fathers are masters and controllers.
No. He's not even the father. Look at her. Look at her face. Does that look like any dwarf child to you?
To be true. And he looks at each and every one of you and remembers Brickarm. She's the prettiest of all of you, including me. And that's much to say. Yeah.
I think it'd also be pretty telling by the fact that she had to use a stone to communicate in the tapping language back to the Cormong, and no dwarf, no matter how young, ever has to use a stone when the knuckles can do the trick.
Yeah. And he goes, like I said when I met Brickarm, the child is no matter to me. I accomplished what I was looking for. I can bring her to someplace else if you want to, but I have no obligation to bring her back to her father.
But at the same time, Carmong, you were ordered to bring her back. Honor and order, from what I've gathered from Carmong, is paramount.
Cormong is a slave. To be a slave in dwarf culture, as I said earlier, is a holy thing. It is a thing. It's a privileged thing. I'll put it like that. That's why they have the slave wars, where everyone who enlists makes themselves a slave. So the Cormong is a slave to two different things. He is a slave to Baron Brickarm, but he's also a slave to the dreams put into his mind by the gods themselves. And the gods told him to take her away and the Baron told him to go find her, and technically to bring her back. But the dreams are what's more important. To him, he has fulfilled one full order and half of the other. So when he returns, because he will return eventually no matter what happens by himself, but the Cormong is resolving this, that when he returns, he will train the next Cormong, and then he will go be executed by the Baron, since he will just no longer be Cormong anymore.
So you guys tell me this. What would you decide to do together? What would you do? Where would you go? Would you go back? Would you go somewhere else? I need everyone to decide. You can split. You can do whatever you want to do. Let's do it this way. Philip, what would you do?
These are powerful enemies that we will be creating if we take the Baron's daughter from him. I was just in that city and I was hoping to make some money from there. But I still do not think that she should be enslaved to him if she does not want to go. So I'm convinced by Carmong and Morn. I will, I guess, abide by them and go sail back with them, but probably split up with them once we reach land.
Okay. And Baptiste.
And yeah, Vicar is with them to going back to land and trying to convince them to just follow him into the deeper parts of the land.
And we've already known what Carmong is going to do. So Morn.
Morn has been, well, she's rough around the edges. She is extremely loyal to those she respects. And she respects, and this has been forecasted and foretold since the beginning of their interaction the past couple days, that she respects the shit out of the Carmong. And so she would quietly fall in line under grave, circumstances. Her jokes are to the wayside, and her, kind of just nonchalant and, as you put it, bitchy attitude has dropped, and she kind of she falls in line like a soldier almost.
Okay. Then I imagine the next day, once the storm is past, all of you head south for probably 2 days. You come upon a port city. Philip, what's the name of it? A port town, village.
It's going to be Port Caraway.
Port Caraway. And it's just a small little village. It just has a small tavern and an inn. All of you stick out like a sore thumb. But they're kind enough to you. You find the nearest inn to rest after 2 days at sea. And everyone kind of settles in for a good rest. And that night, now, Cormong, would you stay with Lara, or would she have her own room?
He would definitely stay with her.
Okay. Then one night, on that 5th day, just at about midnight, all of you would be awoken, especially Cormong, by this child screaming, just laying in bed, screaming. As you all rush into the room, I imagine you just kick the door open and you just see Carmong standing there just a few feet away. And you see this child floating off of the bed, her arms getting longer, her legs getting longer, her fingers growing, her nails growing, long white hair starting to grow out of her head until she is the spitting image of the creatures that you just destroyed in that den.
Could I kill her mid-transformation?
No.
Oh, fuck.
Because that's where we end.
Damn. The Cormong knew this would happen. That's why he was ready to kill her.
Well, maybe he does kill her, but we don't have to go into that.
Jeez. Oh man.
No, you took it from me. You took it. I was gonna alter form.
I'm sorry. I did. I mean, everybody picked up on that hag thing, right? The hag with the kid. I knew Marquise did, but I know that was really meta. It's the only thing that I could think of because I rolled Fae.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, child, and I rolled Fae. Okay, hag, child. Okay, let's just run with that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was an abrupt end, but you know.
As a side note, I could add something like, as expected, final contract made.
Final contract. Oh, wow.
Yeah. But like I said, it was actually it was all that I could think of. As I was hoping that you were going to bring her back, to the thing, and I was actually going to have like them have a big feast for her birthday, because as the lore goes, on their 13th birthday, and then I was going to have the Baron throw you all out of the feast and order Carmong not to come back in, and then you would just hear as the doors closed, you would hear the girl screaming, and then she would become the hag then. So.
See, because I would imagine, because I kind of have like meta knowledge, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine the dreams of the Cormong knows hags, trolls, and worms, right? He smelled the boo-boo in this, right?
Yeah.
So he was just going to take her south, give her a good last few days, and then kind of like what her father was going to do, and then execute her just flat out as she was transforming. That was his plan.
I mean, like I said, it was just a fun little improv. I thought you guys did a great job.
It was very fun.
Now, let me state.
Yeah.
As DM Knight freaking hag, I totally legit knew what was going on.
Well,
but I was like, Morn has no clue. She has low intellect. She's just fallen in line.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. All I know is I came and got a baby off an island.
Well, and I know that was a little tropey, and anybody who is experienced, you and Marquise, I'm sure knew that, because I love hags. I love that aspect of their culture, that they eat babies, and then it's all cool for 13 years, and then surprise. I think that's awesome. But no, I thought, I mean, it was fun. It was it was, like I said, it was a pretty typical story, but the end of it, you guys, I figured you'd take her back to the to her father. I didn't even think about that she wasn't actually her father's kid.
Yeah. I really like that.
And then Chelsea, when you said that was how you were blackmailing him, that was brilliant.
Thank you.
I was like, oh, you just tied that all back in. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good. Like I said, the improv games generally don't flow as well as the other ones, but they're still fun.
Yeah, a ton of fun.
But, I mean, and dude, the war magic is insane.
Yeah, when I power surge it.
Nice job.
I can only power surge once per short or long rest, but man, when I do, I am fucking somebody up. Usually my party members,
Yeah,
as we saw.
thanks, buddy. Thanks.
Yeah,
And
it's flash damage, you pansy.
And then with the dwarven ability
the guy from France just called you a pansy. That's awesome.
I ignore what Baptiste says, because one day I will kill his characters as I have everyone else's characters at some point.
Not mine.
But not yet.
Marquise, I don't think you've actually ever killed me.
Listen, just because sometimes Marquise decides to play a little bit nice doesn't mean that Marquise won't kill you in the future.
Okay, hold on now. Hold on. I have a question, Marquise. Knowing you, okay, did you actually roll more damage than 30 on those rolls?
Yeah.
Did you pull it back? I knew that.
No. I almost did once with the Minotaur, but I rolled a bit low on that one. And then on the one on Chelsea, I was really hoping it'd be close to max damage, but I rolled like 4 ones, and the rest were like 4 5s and 6s, and I was like, man.
If she was -10, she was done. So
yeah,
that would have been. And Philip, man, I'm sorry, bud. I know your character really didn't stand out, man. I just kind of felt bad for you. Like, I was like, Marquise keeps talking.
Whoa! I was giving a lot of room to everybody.
No,
he was.
Yes, you were, dude. Yes, you were. I'm not finding any fault at all. I was just, I've seen Philip like be the main focus of a game, and he does awesome. And I was trying to give you little like things, and I'm like, well, shit. Other people were just picking up on him first.
No, yeah, it was really fun to play with these guys. They're really good, and
Yes,
I
they are.
enjoyed the game. Yeah.
Yeah, we might take a little bit to breathing room, like talking a lot and just jumping in as soon as we can. It's true.
Can I just say that Morn did not walk in expecting to be a spotlight character?
Well, yeah, but you know what though? But she was, and that was why it was kind of fun. I mean,
yeah, Morn was a good choice to have leading the not leading the party, but being like the spotlight of the party. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I don't know. My favorite part was when you guys hit every rock when you were driving in.
You're welcome.
That was fun for me.
That was crazy.
Honestly, I enjoy these games. They're silly, you know, they're tropey, but it's just fun to play with people that I don't usually play with. And I've actually never played as a DM for Chelsea, and I've never played for Baptiste. For Marquise and Philip, I played in like every game with Philip lately, and I used to play in every game with Marquise, but then
I take breaks now.
Yeah.
The class.
Well, that's because you're in school and you have to do that. Some of us don't have lives other than that.
Yeah,
and children.
And children.
Well, you'll see, Chelsea. I have 3. Yours is what, 6 months old now?
Yeah, she turned 6 months on the 4th.
Congratulations. Welcome to the club. The rest of the next 18 years. Good luck.
No, it's cool.
Because I haven't had a good night's sleep in 10 years. Just saying.
You know what? I had the heart failure, and like it's kind of like a leading story. So like the last 3 months of my pregnancy, I literally could not walk. Marquise was there like through the whole thing, listening to me bitch, right? And then I had the heart failure, and then I went through like massive postpartum depression, and I mean massive. So like I'm at this point now where I'm getting healthy again. I've lost over 100 pounds.
Nice.
You know. I'm on the correct, meds to, so I'm not depressed and shit like that. And, I'm like, you know what? I have gotten through all of that bullshit. It's a fucking cakewalk from here.
You know what? I mean, congratulations on all that. No, it's not. I'm just saying. There is nothing.
I don't know, man. Well, wait. Let me add this on. While I was pregnant, my husband was going through cancer. So.
Well, hold on. I will say this. There is not having. I'm down. I told you I'm down from where at my highest about 160 pounds. So I've done the weight loss thing. I had a cancer scare last month, but I will tell you, it turned out to be nothing apparently. But
good.
The thing that I can never understand. And anybody who has kids gets this. Okay. They're in pain. They're in agony. Oh yeah. And all you can do is watch. And you can't do there is not a worse feeling of anything in the world. I don't care who you are, a child that you love in pain and you can't do anything about it. Nope. Just chop my arm off instead. It's fine.
So like on the 3rd or 4th day in the hospital when they start raking their foot for the blood tests.
Yeah.
They had to hold me down because I almost attacked a nurse.
Mine was in the NICU, and she wasn't, the youngest was having a little bit of breathing problem, not really big, but the woman was smacking her on the back. I almost punched this woman in the face. Yeah, like you don't even expect this rage that can come out of your body. I'm sorry, we're getting so off topic. I will stop the broadcast. I'll stop the broadcast and we'll continue it. But guys, thank you so much for playing. Like I said, this is a fun little thing that I'm doing, and if you want to run them yourselves, I'll absolutely play with all of you again. Baptiste, very nice to meet you. Chelsea, I played with you before, but thank you.
It was really fun.
Wait,
Philip, thank you as always, and Marquise, it always is, man. It always is.
Same.
I don't need to say nothing, man. Although I was really hoping that Marquise would die, because it's always a highlight of my month when Marquise dies in a game. And I have dreams about it. It's bad.
I wasn't sure if Jaka wanted to heal him. I was like, he was so reckless.
Yeah. No, I had 2 HP left. I didn't expect Jaka to heal me. Right. So if Cormong falls, man, at least he was a badass before he falls.
All right, guys. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop the broadcast right now, but we'll stay in chat for a minute.
Bye.
All right, guys. Take care.